Life's tough, so the main character, Ha-won, has to do odd jobs here and there. Today, while babysitting, she told the kids the fairy tale of Cinderella. After finishing the story, Ha-won got really angry because Cinderella these days doesn't have time to meet a prince. Real-life Cinderellas are too busy making money to become rich ladies. Besides, princes these days are all womanizers, and their manners are super rude. On her way to deliver pizza, Ha-won saw a guy fighting with someone else to snatch a bag from that person's hand. She sped off on her scooter to chase after him. After a long stretch of swerving, weaving, and cutting people off, Ha-won finally caught up with the man. But when she got there, she realized that this guy was actually helping the girl get her bag back from some robbers. Back at the convenience store, Ha-won asked the owner for any expired items to eat. When she got home, she saw her stepsister and stepmother enjoying a feast. She gave a quick greeting and was about to go up to her room. Her stepmother called her back, reminding her to wash the dishes properly next time, and her stepsister asked if she'd picked up the clothes. When she found out Ha-won forgot, her stepsister cursed her as useless garbage. The stepmother even said she was as useless as her dead mother. Ha-won could only smile it off, then quickly went upstairs. She has to struggle to make money everywhere to save up the 4,001 needed for her university tuition. These are Chairman Kang's 3 grandsons, his direct heirs. They drove their supercars back to his mansion. As soon as they arrived, all 3 received a wedding invitation. Surprisingly, it was Chairman Kang's own wedding invitation. Even though the 3 of them are brothers, they aren't very close. Ji-yoon left on his own first. Only Hyun-min agreed to attend his grandfather's wedding. He even promised to give him a surprise wedding gift. After the 3 left, Chairman Kang's secretary brought up the first time he brought Ji-yoon home. Hyun-min and Ji-yoon already disliked each other, and as soon as they met, they were ready to throw punches. After introducing them as cousins, Hyun-min was very skeptical. Hyun-min said his uncle never got married, so how could he have a son? Then, he reminded the secretary to check carefully in case they were being tricked. Hyun-min blamed his grandfather for having a weird hobby of picking up grandsons. Not long ago, he picked up a kid busking on the street. Now it's Ji-yoon's turn. Then he turned around and left. After finding out that none of his grandsons were coming to his wedding, Chairman Kang was very disappointed in them. He needs to find an heir to the Han-eun group, while his 3 grandsons are still very immature. The first grandson is Ji-yoon, and he's very passionate about cars. When he saw a guy bullying his colleague, he rammed his supercar straight into the guy's car. He will pay double for the damaged car, but the car owner has to apologize and never come back here with that arrogant attitude again. Chairman Kang's youngest uncle is Seo-yu, and he's very passionate about singing and is also a famous idol. The last grandson is Hyun-min, good-looking interface but terrible operating system. He always goes around deceiving people's feelings. However, the girls who get dumped all get a car from Hyun-min, so even though they get dumped, they're very happy. That night, Hyun-min went to a bar with his friends. He complained that his new grandma is only the age of his mom, and at this rate, he might end up with another child uncle. His friends standing next to him exclaimed that Hyun-min's family tree must be complicated. Hyun-min planned to stir up his grandfather's wedding. He insisted he would bring the first girl who walks through the door to the wedding. Hyun-min didn't expect that the person walking through the door would be a delivery girl. His 2 buddies couldn't stop laughing. Ha-won was delivering an order, but the customers were making things difficult for her. Because when they placed the order, they had written a note, "Must have a beautiful girl deliver the order." Seeing they were being too much, Hyun-min stepped up to try to be a hero to rescue the beauty. But before he could show off his talent, those spoiled brats were sent flying outside. The scene in front of them left the 3 guys with wide eyes and open mouths. Hyun-min felt Ha-won was a bit interesting. He had dated many types of women but never dated such a strong girl. Hyun-min immediately chased after her, taking a picture of the girl's license plate. At this time, Ha-won's stepmother and stepsister were at home checking exam scores, but Yoona didn't get into any universities. Soo-Queen was very disappointed in her daughter. Just then, Ha-won came home from work. She borrowed the computer to check her own exam scores. Her stepsister and stepmother didn't believe she could get into university. They said she was useless, even mocking her not to dream. But when she checked the results, Ha-won had gotten into university. Ha-won was very happy, but her stepmother and stepsister were annoyed. Yoona taunted her for being poor, asking how she could afford to go to school. Ha-won replied that she had saved enough money to pay for the first semester's tuition, and after starting school, she would work part-time to pay for the rest. Over here, the chairman went to head butler Kim's house, but he couldn't find him anywhere. When he went inside, he saw head butler Kim hanging from the ceiling. Head butler Kim had quit because the chairman's grandsons were too much of a handful. The chairman had a massive headache because he had another person quitting. The next day, when Ha-won was at work, suddenly a guy showed up. This person was the young master, Hyun-min. He bought an ice cream and gave her one. Here, Hyun-min asked Ha-won for a favor. Just for 3 hours in exchange for 2 million won. As soon as Ha-won heard that, she smelled a scam. Not knowing what he would buy 3 hours of her time for, she directly refused. Thinking that people with real money would never be stupid to that extent, Hyun-min suddenly put 2 massive stacks of money on the cash register. Ha-won started selling herself out. She asked Hyun-min if he needed a receipt, then asked for his phone number. Hyun-min wrote his phone number on Ha-won's hand. Unexpectedly, money could buy everything. After negotiating, Hyun-min left. Ji-yoon went to work, and when he found out his colleagues hadn't had dinner, he went to Ha-won's store to buy food for everyone. When paying, Ji-yoon suddenly realized he forgot to bring his money. He went back to work to get it. At the door, he accidentally overheard his colleagues saying that now that he's rich, he might cut off contact with them. Hearing that, Ji-yoon quietly left. Ha-won reheated the food. She accidentally saw him walk by, so she chased after him to get the money for the food. Just now, he said he would come back tomorrow to pay, but she didn't believe it. Ji-yoon took off his watch as collateral, but Ha-won didn't take it and left. Ha-won went home from work late. Whenever she missed her mom, she would take out her photo and look at it, then sobbed uncontrollably. She texted her dad, even though he never replied to her messages. The next morning, Ha-won went to visit her mom. When she got there, she found out that her mom's urn was missing. Asking the manager, she learned that she hadn't paid the fees for 5 years, so they had put her mom's ashes in storage. Ha-won didn't accept it, but since she hadn't paid for 5 years, they had to do that. Ji-yoon was also there. He yelled at the two of them to be quiet and not disturb other people. Turns out, he also came here to visit his deceased mother. When Ji-yoon went outside, he saw Ha-won kneeling down, begging the manager to put her mom's ashes back in their original spot. Ha-won held the bouquet of flowers her mom liked the most. She remembered when her mom was alive, the two of them would hug each other very happily. But now, she could only hug the bouquet, sitting in the car looking at the rain. Ha-won had tried so hard to get into university, because that was her mom's wish before she passed away. But now she couldn't go to school because the debt owed to the funeral home was too large. She apologized to her mom a lot for not being able to fulfill her wish. The next evening, Ha-won and Hyun-min arrived at the agreed-upon location. What surprised Ha-won was that Hyun-min wanted her to pretend to be his fiancé for 3 hours. Noticing the regret on Ha-won's face, Hyun-min lied that his grandfather was seriously ill, and he hoped that before he died, he could see him get engaged. Hyun-min turned around, putting on a pitiful look. Seeing that, Ha-won went over to comfort him. Just like that, Hyun-min had tricked this kind girl. Getting in the car, Hyun-min discovered that this girl was extremely special. Not only was she not interested in his handsome face, but she even raised her fist to protect herself when she saw his hand on her shoulder, then moved to another seat. The luxurious car arrived at some location. Hyun-min showed up, and he was even bringing a girl with him. Reporters started taking photos and reporting. Hyun-min led Ha-won to a secret basement. This place had beautiful high heels and precious jewelry. Ha-won immediately asked what these things were. Hyun-min nonchalantly replied that she was his fiancée now, so just enjoy it. Just then, there was a knock at the door. As soon as he opened the door, Hyun-min saw the girl who had liked him for a long time. So, he casually closed the door again. The girl asked Hyun-min who was in the room. Hyun-min vaguely replied that she wouldn't know her. He also asked if she wasn't tired of doing crazy things all day long. Ha-won went into the fitting room without noticing Seo-yu was also in the room listening to music. Afraid of being exposed, Selu accidentally grabbed Ha-won's phone. After changing clothes, Ha-won also accidentally grabbed Selu's phone. She slowly walked out. A professional makeup team started doing her makeup. Ha-won was transformed into a completely different person. Hyun-min also personally put on a pair of beautiful high heels for her. Chairman Kang's wedding ceremony began. He and his new wife walked out. At the same time, his grandson also brought his granddaughter-in-law. Hyun-min immediately stole the spotlight from his grandfather, and all the guests turned their eyes to the young couple. Seeing that, Chairman Kang was livid. At this time, Ha-won discovered that she had been tricked. Turns out, Hyun-min's grandfather wasn't seriously ill at all. Ha-won angrily wanted to leave, but Hyun-min forcibly picked her up. With no other choice, Ha-won had to see it through. Hyun-min said to his grandfather, the wedding gift he specially prepared for him was his fiancée. Chairman Kang's new wife hurriedly asked whose daughter Ha-won was. Ha-won honestly replied that she was a senior at Gyeongsan Girls High School. Ha-won apologized to Chairman Kang for acting inappropriately at his wedding. She even told Hyun-min to apologize to his grandfather, but he refused. Ha-won used a punch to force him to kneel down and apologize to his grandfather. Everyone was stunned by this scene. Ha-won didn't want to be used anymore, and she angrily wanted to go home. Hyun-min subtly indicated that her 3 hours of work weren't over yet. Ha-won had no choice. She had to lower her head and continue acting with Hyun-min. Hyun-min deliberately acted affectionate towards Ha-won. He cruelly hurt the heart of the girl who had secretly loved him for 15 years. He made Haiji cry. Just then, Ji-yoon suddenly appeared. He didn't hesitate to hurt others to protect Haiji. Ji-yoon recognized Ha-won as the girl who worked at the convenience store. He also said she only came here for money. Then he threw a pile of money on the ground in front of her. Seeing that, Hyun-min was furious. He yelled at Ji-yoon not to treat his woman like that. Ha-won chased after Ji-yoon, saying she knew they could throw this money away easily. but many other people couldn't. She warned Ji-yoon that if he dared to touch her again, he was a dead man. After everything that happened, Ha-won was very angry. She vented all the bad things that had happened today on Hyun-min. She returned all the items he had bought for her. Even the shoes, she threw away because she felt they were unlucky. Because Ha-won was in a hurry to break off relations with Hyun-min, she even forgot to take her salary. However, Hyun-min didn't expect that his actions of disrupting his grandfather's wedding would cause him to suffer serious consequences. His grandfather had found him a real fiancé and told him to marry for the benefit of the family. Unexpectedly, Hyun-min wasn't afraid at all. He was used to being a jerk, and he had hundreds of ways to ruin such marriages. Meanwhile, the chairman was reminiscing about yesterday. He actually quite liked Ha-won, so he asked Jun-sung to investigate her family background. Everything that happened at the wedding quickly topped the search rankings. Everyone was very curious about who Hyun-min's fiancé was. The girl rumored to be the granddaughter-in-law of the Han-sung group was actually a pitiful girl. She lost her mother at a young age and now lives with her stepmother. Ha-won borrowed money from her stepmother to pay for tuition, but not only did she not lend her the money, but she also scolded and cursed her terribly. Ha-won had to work part-time at a small store, but with her meager salary, she couldn't afford to pay the tuition. Ha-won comforted herself that if she couldn't study this year, she would study again next year. As long as she saved a little more, she would soon have enough money to pay. After learning about Ha-won's difficult situation, Chairman Kang also felt touched. He sent someone to find her. Ha-won didn't expect Chairman Kang to be such a humorous person. His attitude made her feel less tense. This time, Chairman Kang wanted Ha-won to move in with his 3 grandsons. He wanted her to teach his 3 wild grandsons to become decent people. In addition, he would assign her some other tasks. The working period was 3 months. If Ha-won agreed, Chairman Kang would pay all of her tuition fees. This would completely change Ha-won's life. Ha-won asked the chairman for some time to think about it. On the day of his blind date, Hyun-min met a very elegant young lady. Hyun-min said in a roguish manner that he liked beautiful, sexy girls more. Then, to show off his flirtatious nature, Hyun-min reached out to hug the girl who was passing by. But unexpectedly, it was Hae-ji. Hyun-min was extremely distressed, but because he wanted his blind date to give up, he kissed Hae-ji in front of everyone. The young lady was very confused by this action, then ridiculed him for being too promiscuous. Truly seeing is believing. After Hyun-min settled things, he immediately let go of Hae-ji, said a soft sorry, and then cruelly left. Hae-ji chased after him and asked what she was in Hyun-min's eyes. He said he only saw her as a childhood friend. Hae-ji realized Hyun-min had changed too much. He also said that after 15 years, everyone has to change, but she still believed he still held their memories. Just as Hyun-min was about to leave, someone came to bring him a jacket. At first he asked what jacket it was, but when he realized it was Ha-won's jacket, he took it and got in the car to go home. At this time, Ha-won came to the hotel to find her jacket, but she wasn't allowed inside because she didn't have a reason to be there. Seeing this, Ji-eun couldn't ignore it and helped her, but the cleaning staff said they didn't see a jacket like that. Outside, she thanked him for helping her, but Ji-eun sarcastically told her to ask Hyun-min to buy her another one. Wasn't she just trying to get handouts anyway? After hearing those words, Ha-won punched him hard. She said that a person who treated girls like trash like him was the jerk. After saying that, she turned around and walked away. She tried calling her phone number, but no one answered. Meanwhile, Seo-woo was holding her phone while performing and singing. After finishing singing, he picked up the phone but realized it wasn't his. He called his own number, but his phone was turned off, and at that moment, his phone ran out of battery. Ha-won was very upset because she might not be able to find her phone. Meanwhile, Yoona was selling cosmetics. She was confident that she would become famous with these fake cosmetics. But when Ha-won got home, the reporters recognized her as the girl who was with Hyun-min at the wedding ceremony. After hearing the news, the stepmother was shocked. She hurriedly chased the reporters outside. Yoona questioned Ha-won if this was true, but Ha-won said things weren't as they thought. But because of their jealousy, they kicked Ha-won out of the house. Ha-won said this was her home, but Yoona had never considered her family. That night, Hyun-min returned home, put Ha-won's jacket on the chair, and lay on the bed remembering his meeting with Hae-ji that morning. Not knowing what he was thinking, he took out a childhood photo and looked at it. While working part-time at the movie theater, a colleague invited Ha-won to watch a movie because the theater was currently empty. While they were watching together, the friend had something to do and left first. Unexpectedly, the person sitting next to her was Ji-eun. He looked at Ha-won dozing off. When she woke up, she was shocked, confused, and taken aback. Even more shocking, he wanted to borrow 10,000 won from her, but she said she only had 5,000 won. He said it wasn't necessary and left, but his stomach was rumbling. Seeing this, she had no choice but to take him to eat ramen. She said he threw money around for fun the other day, but today he was borrowing money, and she even planned to give him plain noodles. After that, the chairman went to see Ji-eun. He wanted him to return to the mansion, but he said he would never go back there and only wanted to return to his previous life. The chairman threatened that everything he had would disappear if he didn't listen to him. Ji-eun wasn't afraid of this threat and turned around and left. Meanwhile, Seo-yu managed to call Ha-won about her phone. Messages were ringing constantly, and she read out the phone's passcode so Seo-yu could open it and read them to her. Unexpectedly, it was a message from her sister, telling her to get out of the house. But Seo-yu couldn't bear to tell her that, so he just said it was a message from her sister telling her to come home quickly. Then the two met up to return the phone. The next morning, Ha-won went to school. She was surrounded by reporters asking if she was engaged to Chairman Kang's grandson. While she didn't know what to do, Hyun-min arrived just in time to save her. He even thought he was very cool, but she found it very annoying and wanted him to explain that this was just a misunderstanding. Seeing her attitude, Hyun-min called someone and told them to take down all the news articles related to her immediately. At that time, Ji-eun returned to work. Unexpectedly, his close friend fired him. Not understanding what was going on, he smiled and said he would come again next time. Someone ran up and told him not to come here again because they had received money from the chairman and promised not to know him. After hearing this, Ji-eun, although very sad, still smiled and said he was okay. Jun-sung came to find Ji-eun. He had to admit that the chairman's power was too great. He would do anything to bring him back home, even if he had to hurt others. One day, Ha-won received news that her father had returned, making her extremely happy. Before going home, she suddenly received a call from the church, saying that her father had taken her mother's urn. Ha-won was very puzzled. After returning home, she hurriedly asked him if he had taken her mother's urn. She went to the small room upstairs, saw the urn placed on the ground, and hugged it. Then, she went in front of her father and finally couldn't bear it and said her grievances. "How could you do this? They said that you have never paid the care fees at the church, and you now owe 5 million won. I have paid 4 million. You only need to pay the rest to be able to enshrine mom." But her father yelled, asking why he should give such a large sum of money to a dead person. Hearing this, the stepmother pretended to help Ha-won, but she basically didn't treat her like family, even making her live in the attic room and not giving her a single penny for tuition. She even threw all the belongings in the room and then turned around and said she had nothing to do with it. Ha-won questioned her stepmother because there were photos of her mother in there. Seeing this, her father slapped her and said she wasn't his daughter, but the daughter of some other guy. The stepmother and sister were overjoyed after hearing this. She told her not to come back here again and to disappear. Ha-won hugged her mother's urn and walked alone in the rain. She knew she couldn't return to that house. Just then, the phone rang. It was Chairman Kang. Her despair suddenly grasped an opportunity to live on. Currently, she had nowhere to go, and she had no choice but to accept his invitation. At that moment, Jun-sung unexpectedly held an umbrella over her, and the three troublemaking guys walked out from 3 different directions, approaching her. Truly the aura of the main character. After Ha-won was brought back to the mansion with her mother's urn by the chairman's secretary, the secretary brought Ha-won into the bathtub to soak in hot water to avoid getting sick. At this time, still with a dazed face and a silly smile, thinking about the bitter scolding from her father, Ha-won tiredly shook her head to get over it. Because she received too great of a mental shock that she couldn't bear, she chose to soak in the water. Meanwhile, the handsome butler, Secretary Kim, came out and announced to the chairman's 3 especially mischievous grandsons that from today onwards, Ha-won would be living with everyone in this mansion. In particular, he intentionally reminded Hyun-min that dating was not allowed here. The 3 grandsons, Hyun-min, Seo-yu, and Ji-eun, simultaneously panicked and kicked and screamed. "What? She's going to live here? Really? Why? That's crazy!" After that, the butler was about to explain the relationship between the two when Hyun-min fearfully ran to the secretary, pulled him inside forcefully, and prevented him from saying it. "What are you doing? You told us we weren't allowed to date her. Think carefully. Wouldn't it be safer if they believed she was my fiancé? Look at them. Don't you know they'll go crazy over any girl? You can't joke around with them." The butler was still firm with his opinion. "Go and tell everyone the truth." After taking a bath, an embarrassing gurgling sound came from her stomach. While secretly looking for food in the kitchen, she was discovered by the housekeeper. Ha-won was frightened and flustered. Then she was quickly taken to an old house by her because she was mistaken for a new maid. Because her daily life was already familiar with these scenes, Ha-won laughed, very happy with this suitability. Before she could be happy for too long, the butler walked in, surprised why Ha-won was here. "You are a very special guest of the chairman, so why are you suffering like this?" The housekeeper heard this, panicked, and her attitude changed 180 degrees. She immediately bowed and greeted her politely. After leaving there with Yoon-sung, her stomach started growling again. Seeing this, he understood. Then, with his outstanding handsomeness and culinary talent, the secretary's hands flew quickly, cooking very professionally. Truly worthy of the title Master Chef. Just in a blink of an eye, delicious dishes were served, filling the table completely. The main character opened her mouth wide, surprised by this wonderful thing. After finishing the meal, she walked out to the spacious living room. While admiring the wealth, Hyun-min hurriedly ran over, pulled her hand to the hallway, and questioned her. "Don't do anything reckless. Remember, we are acting as engaged according to the contract, got it?" Ha-won struggled and tried to resist, but Hyun-min reassured her. "You're not afraid at all, are you? This house is full of guys. You'll be safer here as my fiancé." After returning to her room, Ha-won calmed down, sat looking at her mother's urn, and blamed herself for not being able to take good care of her. She had to temporarily place it in her room, then went to bed to prepare to sleep. But no matter what she did, she couldn't get comfortable, tossing and turning without being able to sleep. She sat up and looked around, discovering that the space under the table was very suitable. After lying down and trying it, she found it very comfortable, so she slept straight until morning, truly accustomed to hardship and unable to bear comfort. The next day, Ha-won woke up and saw that the housekeeper had prepared a very lavish breakfast. While sitting and waiting for the young masters to have breakfast with her, she saw Jun-sung. He told her she could enjoy it alone because the personalities of the three brothers were very different, so they had never sat down to eat together before. Just then, Chairman Kang called. Looking at the scene, perhaps he had gotten rid of the troublesome bunch and happily went on a trip. After asking a few simple questions, he immediately gave her her first task, to get the three grandsons to sit down and eat together. In Ha-won's understanding, getting the three of them to sit at the same table would be very difficult because she hadn't had much contact with them. After that, Jun-sung gave her an important contract to sign. He briefly explained the content. If she succeeded in each task assigned by the chairman, she would receive a reward, and the reward would be proportional to the difficulty of the task. But if she failed, she had to voluntarily leave this mansion. After that, the butler went to Ha-won's stepmother's house. When she read the business card, she panicked. Unexpectedly, he was the chief secretary of the Hanul group. Jun-sung told them that he came here to pick up Ha-won's luggage. The stepmother immediately changed her attitude, but the butler didn't have a good impression of her. He didn't even bother to look at her, so he grabbed the luggage and left straight away. Over here, Ha-won walked out to the living room, looking around. Why was there not a single family photo in such a big house? Suddenly, Seo-yu came and sat next to her, gently asking, "What happened last night? Why do you look like you were crying?" Ha-won panicked and justified, "No, it's just that I got caught in the rain." Seo-yu said, "Isn't it that there's something going on with that family?" Because last night he had accidentally read the messages on her phone and deleted them without permission. It seemed that the messages from the stepmother's daughter were very excessive, so he quickly deleted them so she wouldn't be sad when she read them. Truly, what the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't grieve over. When Jun-sung took the luggage back to the mansion, he suddenly received a phone call and hurriedly ran off, leaving the suitcase he was holding. Just then, Ha-won was running without looking, and as a result, she dropped the suitcase into the water. Seeing her belongings being swept away by the water, she panicked and jumped into the cold water to retrieve them. Just then, the two young masters Hyun-min and Seo-yu saw it. They didn't understand why she had to pick up trash. Ha-won told them that these were all her treasures. Then, Seo-yu ran to get a net and pulled her ashore. While Ha-won was retrieving the belongings, Ji-eun retrieved the bouquet of roses that was swept away by the water for her. It turned out that when he saw that bouquet, he recognized that it was the bouquet she brought to visit her mother. Placing the bouquet in Ha-won's hand, he said, "You must know how to keep your belongings, and don't make others worry." Seeing this, Hyun-min walked up and put his arm around her shoulder and warned Ji-eun, "It's not your turn to care." The two looked at each other with sparks, only wanting to rush in and punch each other. That night, the secretary was ordered to take her shopping for clothes. They were branded clothes from the biggest and most famous fashion brands at that time. While he was picking out clothes, he told Ha-won, "Go somewhere and have some fun to relax." While walking, she suddenly bumped into a fat woman, causing her to drop her brand-name crocodile handbag. The woman picked it up and, seeing that her bag was scratched, she shouted and demanded compensation, scaring Ha-won. At the same time, Haiji appeared, analyzing that the details on her bag were very different from the limited edition, so this was definitely fake. The woman was too embarrassed and hurriedly interrupted, leaving immediately. After that, the two of them sat and talked together in a cafe. Ha-won thanked Haiji for helping her and asked, "Why did you know that bag was fake?" Haiji smiled and said, "It's a simple thing. Anyone who sews a lot will know, because I really like fashion design." Haiji told her that since they were young, Hyun-min and she had lived in the same neighborhood, so they had been close since then. At this time, Ha-won's stepsister came to the cafe to find her best friend, standing in front of Ja-young threatening, "I heard Ha-won is living in the Hanan mansion? Quickly reveal what you know." She was even so shameless as to demand to take Ja-young's phone to look at. After seeing the photos that Ha-won took at the luxurious mansion, she was extremely envious. As for Haiji, after returning home and finding out that Ha-won was living in the mansion, she was too sad and asked Ji-eun to come to the exhibition to confide in him. At night, at the mansion, Hyun-min suddenly woke up and ran to Ha-won's room to knock on the door and call her. With his class clown nature, he ran back to his room, took out the uniform that she would wear at the upcoming graduation ceremony, and threatened to cut off one of the sleeves. Ha-won was scared and panicked, running after him to demand it back, begging, "Don't cut it, please." She got close to his face as if they were about to kiss. Hyun-min, with his flirtatious nature, was also drawn in, but she punched him in the face, causing him great pain. Then, by some force, the two had the opportunity to hug each other, then glare at each other with sparks of passion. Just then, Ji-eun brought Hae-ji home and saw that scene, but he was afraid that after seeing it, she would be sad. So he held her head, looking into his eyes. The next morning, Ha-won was very confident with her first task, to get the three of them to sit down and eat a meal together. She thought there was nothing difficult about eating a meal, so she ran to Hyun-min's room, causing him to wake up startled from his sleep. She called him to get up for breakfast, but Hyun-min had never eaten breakfast at home. As he was about to refuse, he was threatened and warned, so he had to obey. After that, she went to the pool to find Ji-eun, but his personality was not very gentle. Ha-won was scared and ran away, with no choice but to take his phone as ransom. As long as he agreed to eat breakfast together, she would return the phone to him. As a result, Ji-eun also had to listen. Seo-yu on this side was a little easier. Ha-won came to his recording studio, inviting him to have breakfast with everyone. As a result, Seo-yu comfortably agreed. Ha-won personally prepared the table. The first to arrive was Hyun-min, and as soon as he appeared, he started touching her. For this guy who dared to touch her body, she had to warn him, but his hands still wouldn't stay still. After that, Seo-yu walked in. Seeing Hyun-min here, he didn't even bother to come to sit, let alone sit at the same table. And at that time, the most hot-tempered guy Ji-eun also arrived. The atmosphere began to tense. Before half a word could be said, the three brothers started a war. Then, Hyun-min and Seo-yu left one after another, leaving only Ji-eun. He told her to return his phone, but Ha-won didn't understand why family affection wasn't even worth a phone. Before she could continue speaking, she was pulled back by Ji-eun, causing Ha-won's small heart to suddenly beat erratically. Before she could react, he took the opportunity to take back his phone, while also warning her not to provoke him in the future. The first plan failed just like that. The chairman laughed very heartily when he heard this news. He thought that this girl Ha-won was very individualistic, daring to do and daring to take responsibility. Although she failed, the task was very difficult anyway. He was very hopeful, wondering what she would do to complete it. That night, at the Haniel mansion, with her determination, Ha-won made a whole notebook of plans to get the cousins to eat together. Plan 1 was to catch them all off guard. After that, Ha-won immediately ran out to ask Hyun-min to play Beep Beep. If he lost, he would be forced to have a meal together. But Hyun-min still insisted that he didn't want to eat with those two hateful cousins. But she threatened him, asking if he wanted to be beaten up or to eat a meal with them. Standing before these two brain-racking opportunities, Hyun-min had to lower himself to play again. After the Beep Beep game, she switched to playing rock paper scissors with the youngest Seo-yu. Whoever lost had to do something for the other person. The two of them continued with the game slogan rock, paper, scissors continuously, and their hands moved back and forth quickly. In the end, Ha-won won easily, forcing him to follow the rules of the game and go eat with the other two. Finally, it was the Charam Karam game with the cold Ji-eun. But this method had no effect on Ji-eun at all. In the end, at dinner, not a single person came to join. Ha-won had already thought of the second plan for the task. She listened to the housekeeper about the three young masters' favorite dishes, then personally selected the ingredients, and finally placed the finished food in the middle of the house, causing the aroma to spread throughout the rooms. As expected, the three guys immediately followed the aroma. At that time, everyone had to drool. But unexpectedly, Seo-yu was the first to overcome this attraction. He reluctantly left. Seeing the butler open his mouth wide to eat grilled lamb, Hyun-min also had to swallow his saliva. While hitting him, he said he was eating too much, then hesitated and left. At that time, only Ji-eun was left looking at the table with longing eyes. Ha-won kept praising how delicious it was. He slowly approached, looking at his favorite grilled meat, unable to resist, and slowly opening his mouth. When Ji-eun was about to fall into the trap, he got to the table and said, "Get out of my face!" then returned to his room with an empty stomach. Ha-won helplessly sat watching her plan fail again. Unexpectedly, with their long-standing hatred for each other, even delicious food couldn't sway them. The concept of family was a major wound for all three of them, even though it was very easy for other people. At this time, the stepmother and her daughter were furious because they didn't understand why Ha-won could live in such a huge and luxurious mansion. The mother asked Yuna, "Have you really confirmed this with Ha-won's friend?" "Really. I said I saw it with my own eyes. The photos that kids sent to her friend from that mansion. But I heard that area is very large. There must be many workers. Maybe she's just a dishwasher there. But they said she was personally invited to that mansion by Chairman Kang." The mother arrogantly retorted, "Maybe he called her there because she looks a lot like a worker." A few hours earlier, Hyun-min had just broken up with his 999th girlfriend, and the reason was that she was too reserved when sitting down to eat with him. Perhaps haunted by Ha-won's violent personality, Hyun-min asked his girlfriend to hit him, but she still showed a weak expression, causing Hyun-min to immediately lose interest and directly say, "Bye-bye." He was already tired of this type of girlfriend. At that time, he suddenly remembered the tiger-like Ha-won, so he called and asked her to come out, saying he had a surprise. After trying on many outfits, from dresses to office sets, Ha-won finally appeared in a very beautiful white dress, even surprising Hyun-min. Then he gave her a bag worth tens of millions more to make it luxurious enough. After that, Hyun-min directly used his status as a wealthy heir, showing off his wealth, and told the employee, "Besides the 3 outfits I pointed out, pack everything else." That night, when the chairman's eldest grandson Ji-eun was having dinner with Hae-ji at a luxurious 5-star restaurant, the couple Hyun-min and Ha-won unexpectedly arrived hand in hand. Hyun-min saw this and was uncomfortable, telling Ha-won, "Let's go, we shouldn't be here." But out of politeness, she told him not to go anywhere but to stay and eat with them. Then, the 4 of them looked at each other awkwardly, agreeing on the surface but disagreeing in their hearts, silent without saying a word. The food gradually came up and Hae-ji told Ji-eun, "Tell the chef to cook the clams a little longer." He widened his eyes in surprise. "But you don't like well-cooked clams, do you?" She turned to Hyun-min and said, "You can't eat undercooked clams, right?" Ji-eun jealously and sadly looked at Hae-ji, because he had liked her for a long time, and such actions were too much for him. Also, since elementary school, Hae-ji knew about Hyun-min. He accidentally ate a live clam and had a stomachache to the point of being hospitalized. After that, not only did he not pay attention to Hae-ji's words, but Hyun-min also deliberately cared for Ha-won in every little detail, like a real couple. Ha-won was fretting because the dress that cost over 100 million won had been stained, and she looked up startled by Ji-eun's rudeness. Not knowing where he came from, he was shamelessly barging into the women's restroom. Ji-eun angrily said, "Are you happy that you get to buy expensive clothes and eat in such a luxurious place? If you're trying to get into the Hanun mansion just for this goal, then it's pathetic." Ha-won was angry because he looked down on her, so her words were not very good either. "You know that my purpose is not that shallow. I have a high-paying job, so my ambition and purpose are very great. I heard that you guys have never eaten together, and the purpose of this Ha-won is to turn you into a real family. Understand?" After going outside, he remembered the words his grandfather said in their conversation. He told the chairman, "My whole life has been Han Ji-yoon. How can I become Kang Ji-yoon overnight?" The chairman scolded him. "If that's the case, are you planning to continue being Han Ji-yoon fixing cars? Cut off relations with those people. From now on, you're different from them." But those are the people who went through joys and sorrows with Ji-yoon. They are like his family, always by his side during the most difficult times. How can the chairman bear to tell him to leave them? The chairman snapped at Ji-eun again. "Family? They are not your family or friends." He heard this and was helpless, so he had to say nothing more and leave. When the 2 of them were washing their hands, Hae-ji directly asked Hyun-min about his relationship with Ha-won. He didn't even bother to look up and replied that she was his fiancée. Hae-ji was hurt once again, feeling that she shouldn't stay here any longer, so she got up and left alone. After that, Ji-eun turned around and discovered that Hae-ji had disappeared. He hurriedly chased after her, seeing Hae-ji walking desperately in the middle of the road. As the saying goes, when a person falls into a state of extreme suffering, they easily lose their mind and fall into tragedy. Ji-eun excitedly asked Hae-ji, "What do you want, after all?" Hae-ji frankly blurted out, "I only like being with Hyun-min. If Ha-won hadn't appeared, my life would have been better." Seeing the person he loved suffering like this, Ji-eun immediately made a decision. Meanwhile, Hyun-min brought Ha-won to another mansion. Then he told her that this house was his gift to her. "In case one day you don't complete grandfather's task and get kicked out of the mansion, you can stay here. But with one condition, you must agree to date me," Hyun-min said while putting his arm around Ha-won's shoulder. Seeing this, she retorted, "I have absolutely no intention of dating you. If you dare to touch me, be careful with your legs, got it?" In order to quickly complete the chairman's task, Ha-won, after returning home, immediately created a group chat, directly asking everyone to come to the kitchen to eat in an hour. As a result, all 3 left the group at the same time. Getting the 3 of them to eat together was truly harder than ascending to heaven. After that, Ji-eun found Hyun-min, saying he wanted to give him a surprise. In fact, he deliberately caused a misunderstanding to make Ha-won leave Hyun-min, creating an opportunity for Hae-ji. Then, he hugged Ha-won's neck from behind, and at that time Hyun-min just happened to come out and see it. Hyun-min angrily shouted, "What are you doing?" Ji-eun clearly declared, "I want to steal your fiancée." While the 2 brothers were arguing over her, fireworks suddenly appeared in the sky. It turned out that COU accidentally discovered that today was Ha-won's birthday, so he specially prepared this party for her. The 3 brothers finally sat down to celebrate Ha-won's birthday together. It was so difficult to have the opportunity to sit down together, which really surprised Ha-won. After that, she took out her phone and took the first photo with all 3 brothers, considering it as completing the first task the chairman assigned to her. The chairman received the message and was overjoyed. He immediately gave her a scholarship, along with cash and a year's tuition fee waiver. Although Ha-won tried to refuse, this was only a small matter to him anyway. After receiving the reward, the first thing Ha-won did was arrange a proper place for her mother's ashes. She told her mother that she had found a new job, and there were many people around who cared about her, making her happy every day. She would also definitely fulfill her wish to become a university student. Ha-won returned home and discovered that everyone was very busy. From the housekeeper, she learned that 3 days from now was the anniversary of the death of Chairman Kang's 3 sons. Every year on this day, the family would hold a very large memorial service. At the same time, Ha-won also learned that on the annual holiday, the chairman's 3 grandsons did not participate. At that time, the butler was also soliciting opinions from the 3 troublesome young masters of the wealthy family. He hoped that this year they would come together to visit their fathers. But in the end, what was supposed to happen would happen, and of course, the secretary still received a refusal. Immediately after knowing the serious situation, Ha-won confidently proposed that the chairman give her the second task. She would definitely make all 3 of them appear on the anniversary of their father's death. Could Ha-won really conquer these 3 wild horses? After that, Ha-won immediately embarked on the next task. First, she went to the swimming pool, where the young master Ji-eun trains every day. With her playfulness, she invested in a pair of swimming goggles and personally put her face underwater to observe and find Ji-eun easily. Ji-eun was surprised to see this and almost choked on the water before emerging quickly. Ha-won said to Ji-eun in a teasing and challenging tone, "What's wrong? Aren't you wearing anything again today?" "Alright, you go ahead." Ji-eun was surprised to hear this, but she said, "You said you liked me, right? I'm thinking about whether or not to swim with you. But can you say you like me in front of Haiji? I know that you and Kang Hyun-min and Haiji are a love triangle. That relationship is already complicated enough. I don't want to know what you're pulling me into. Or do you like having complicated relationships?" Ji-eun stubbornly replied, "Yes, I really like those things. So what?" Ha-won, being skillful, wanted to take off her clothes and swim with Ji-eun. She wanted to try how comfortable it would be to swim naked like Ji-eun did last time. After that, she tried to be close and talk to understand Ji-eun better. Finally, the relationship between the two got a little better. After talking to the youngest Seo Yu, Ha-won also learned that he was not interested in any kind of memorial services. It was only after his father died that he was regarded as family by his grandfather because his grandmother had not married his grandfather. In the past, people like his grandmother were often called mistresses, so Seo Yu's father had to live in hiding to escape his grandfather's wives. Finally, Ha-won went to meet and persuade the womanizing tycoon Hyun-min. "Are you really not planning to go there to visit your father?" Hyun-min said he wouldn't go because there was someone there he didn't want to see. He hoped she wouldn't waste her efforts any longer. She angrily thought to herself that it was so annoying, it seemed that they had to fight before they would go. But Ha-won was not someone who easily gave up when she encountered difficulties. Unlike those 2 troublemakers, when Ha-won talked about going to visit their fathers on the anniversary, Ji-eun resolutely said that he didn't have a father. When she walked out of the living room, Ha-won unexpectedly met Hyun-min's mother, who had just returned from abroad. She happily let herself be used by her, taking her along as a porter to carry things while shopping in the mall. But during dinner, she revealed her true nature. She began to talk mockingly to Ha-won. "Don't you think you're already the daughter-in-law of this family and try to get close to me? I hope you don't fantasize and know your place." Hyun-min, standing outside, felt uncomfortable, opened the door, and pulled Ha-won away without even saying hello to his mother. Outside in the lobby they had some disagreement, and Hyun-min made Ha-won feel offended and leave. Back at the mansion, too uncomfortable with the boil on her hand, she had to go outside to the lobby to swing her arms to feel better. Seeing this, Ji-in used the acupuncture technique his mother left behind to help Ha-won lance the boil easily. After seeing his gentleness, she said, "Seeing you do that, I'm reminded of my deceased mother. Since my mother passed away, no one has helped me with acupuncture." Ji-in comforted her. "Although your mother has passed away, you still have your father." But Ha-won affirmed that her father would never do that because she wasn't his biological daughter. Ha-won still stubbornly believed that he was her biological father. Ji-yoon said, "There are people like me who don't even know who their biological father is." After that, the 2 of them happily went to the convenience store together for a late-night snack. So Ha-won's plan to befriend Ji-eun to make the next task easier had succeeded by half. Now, he also had a different perspective and thought about Ha-won, and he no longer hated her. Hyun-min caught the 2 of them coming back from eating. He was both jealous and felt guilty because he had raised his voice at Ha-won earlier. He took the initiative to go over and make up but was unsuccessful. In the blink of an eye, it was the anniversary of the death of the young master's fathers. Ha-won had been standing in the lobby outside the temple since early morning waiting for the 3 of them, but in the end, she still didn't see anyone. When she was sadly preparing to give up, the CEO's car suddenly appeared, and then Hyun-min also arrived. This made Ha-won's sorrowful face suddenly become bright again. Originally thinking that Ji-eun would also come to visit, she still tried to wait for every last moment, but she still didn't see him. After that, she bowed to apologize to Chairman Kang because she couldn't complete this task. The chairman was a little disappointed to see this, looked at her without saying anything, and turned around and left. The butler saw this and stepped forward to comfort Ha-won, saying that if Ji-eun also came, it would really be a miracle, so she didn't need to worry too much. When everyone was performing the ceremony, a monk came over and told the butler that Ji-eun had actually been here to visit his father, and the white rose in front of the portrait was left by him. It was just because of his brooding personality, not wanting to perform the ceremony with the family, that he was not present today. After the ceremony, the butler immediately told his boss about this. At that time, Ha-won still thought that the task had failed. She sadly returned to pack her belongings. As she was packing, preparing to move out of the Han-young mansion, she inadvertently remembered the 3 young masters and the days she had lived with them. She gently left a piece of paper saying goodbye to everyone and just left like that. After that, the shameless stepmother and daughter, not knowing any shame, claimed to be Ha-won's family and arbitrarily entered the chairman's mansion, but were discovered and kicked out by the butler in time. After that, the sister Yuna, with envy in her heart, distorted the truth on the school's website in order to attack Ha-won without any way to escape, and muttered while typing, "Ha-won, you're dead meat." The female students, not understanding what was going on, after reading it, all flocked to criticize Ha-won. Reading these comments, Yuna began to reveal an extremely smug smile, and our Cinderella princess at this time had nowhere to rely on, so she went to her best friend's house, begging her to let her stay for one night, but was rejected outright. Truly, friends are friends, but everyone takes care of themselves. At that moment, Ha-ji unexpectedly walked into the coffee shop, and the two were stunned to see each other. Ja-young saw that they seemed to know each other, and without even getting Ha-ji's consent, she just pushed Ha-won to her. Ha-ji didn't care at first but hesitated for a while, then decided to let Ha-won stay for one night. In the room, Ha-won suddenly discovered a photo of Ha-ji and Hyunmin together when they were little. Seeing this, Ha-ji shyly ran out to take it back. Ha-won then told Ha-ji the truth, that she was actually just Hyunmin's fake fiancé, and she moved to the Han-young mansion just to help Chairman Kang with some things. Ha-ji, after hearing this, suddenly became happy and cheerful, to the point that she couldn't sleep at night. Ha-won told Ha-ji that tomorrow her school was holding a graduation ceremony, but she had no one to go with. So Ha-ji immediately agreed with Ha-won that she would go with her tomorrow. Ha-won was overjoyed to hear this, and hugged the beauty tightly. The next morning, Hyunmin entered Ha-won's room. At that time, he still didn't know that Ha-won had left this mansion long ago. He lamented, "Where did you go so early in the morning?" Just as he was about to go out, he remembered that today was Ha-won's graduation ceremony. So he hurriedly ran back to his room to find her uniform. But when he took it out, he had to stand there helplessly and uncomfortably. It was clearly washed clean, but now it was stained with ink like this. Oh my goodness. Seeing that there was no time left, Hyunmin hurriedly ran to the uniform shop to buy a new set for Ha-won. After that, he happily drove to the school, followed by several trucks loaded with gifts. In the schoolyard, Hyunmin had just arrived and proudly said loudly, "Where is my girlfriend, Ha-won?" Moreover, he had also prepared 3 trucks of gifts and a lot of food for everyone. He invited all the female students to enjoy it in order to pry out the news of where Ha-won was. While he was looking for her everywhere, wherever he went, the female students all flocked to him, trying to take pictures. A wealthy heir like that had fans following him wherever he went. Meanwhile, the students were discussing the rumors on the internet posted by the stepmother's daughter with very vicious words. At that time, Ha-won was being bullied by a group of female students known as the Big Sisters in the school. Ji-eun was the first to find her. In that scene, Ha-won looked very pitiful, and the uniform on her body was torn to shreds. Seeing her pitiful appearance, Ji-eun quickly took off his jacket and put it on her. When Ji-eun took her to leave, those female students called another group of hooligans. Seeing this, the young master called out to Ha-won to stand behind him. As Ji-eun was about to teach them a lesson, Hyunmin, standing from behind, called out loudly, drawing everyone's attention. This young master from a wealthy family took out the car key, then pointed to the luxury car parked below, saying, "Whoever gets the car key first will get the car." Those hooligans had never met such a rich tycoon, so they flocked down. At the same time, CEO Woo, who had just arrived at the school, attracted all the female students. As soon as he arrived, he was surrounded by them. After that, CEO Woo made an excuse and quickly slipped away from the crowd. When that group of choi-choi ran down, about to pick up the key, the butler had arrived one step ahead. After the graduation ceremony, Ha-won was all alone, feeling lonely and sad, walking slowly on the cherry blossom road. At that time, at the Han-young mansion, everyone was very anxious waiting for Ha-won to come home. In fact, in their hearts, they had long regarded her as family. What's more, the housekeeper kept walking back and forth anxiously. "Oh my god, what are we going to do now? The weather is very cold today. The world out there is also very dangerous." Because he was too impatient, the butler and the young master CEO Woo invited each other to go find Ha-won urgently. Over here, Hyunmin failed to confess his love and came out of the school. He discovered that everyone around him was looking at him and laughing in his face. He had a bad feeling, so he took out his phone. At that time, Hyunmin learned that the video of him confessing to Ha-won had long been reported widely by the media. The butler went to the stepmother's house to ask if Ha-won would come home today. She heard this and thought that they had kicked Ha-won out, so she turned around and proudly taunted them. The young master Seo Yu, following the name on the uniform he was wearing today, drove to a cafe, hoping to find some clues. But unexpectedly, he ran into Ha-won's best friend, Ja-young. He was flustered and panicked when she recognized him because of his professional fear of crowds knowing and chasing him. The two sat looking at each other for a while. But Ja-young didn't help Seo-yu know any more news about Ha-won. Ji-eun suddenly remembered a place Ha-won had mentioned she liked to go when she was sad. He hurriedly drove to the convenience store, and sure enough, Ha-won was there. In front of her were 3 bowls of noodles, 1 bowl for herself, and the other 2 for her father and mother. She said the usual things, just like a family sitting down to eat. Ha-won suddenly remembered her mother's wish and burst into tears, saying, "I'm sorry that I can't continue to go to university." Ji-eun accidentally heard these words, and felt that Ha-won was really pitiful. He comforted Ha-won in a bold way by criticizing her. What kind of daughter eats 3 bowls of noodles by herself? After that, he said to Ha-won, "Don't let your stomach go hungry anymore. Go home." Ha-won still didn't understand what was going on, so he continued. In fact, on the anniversary, his father had come to visit him. After that, the two happily returned to the Hanul mansion together. Everyone at home was very worried, because until now there was still no more news about Ha-won. Then suddenly, Ha-won walked in, making the atmosphere cheerful. Everyone welcomed her warmly, from the butler to the housekeeper and even the young master Seo-yu. Ha-won was very surprised to see the video recording the scene of her and Hyun-min talking in the school's livestream room. Hyun-min was now also in the game room watching, seeing his love confession video being shared rapidly on social media platforms. He knew that his perfect young master image had been successfully buried as a Chaebol jerk. He didn't dare to show his face in public anymore. Hyun-min was shocked, as if he had turned into a different person. At this time, Ha-won was invited by the chairman and given a pile of free travel tickets. These tickets were all business class, and she could invite anyone to go with her. Ha-won immediately thought of dragging those troublesome guys along so that she could connect their brotherhood even more wonderfully. Back at the mansion, the first person she wanted to invite was Ji-eun, but unfortunately, as soon as he heard her invitation, he refused outright. The next target was Kang Seo-yu. The next day, Ha-won went to her best friend Ja-young's house to play, and inadvertently she was provided with a bunch of valuable materials. They were photos that she had taken of Seo-yu wearing a female ceremonial dress while running away from the troublesome female students who were besieging him at school. Suddenly, a bold idea flashed in Ha-won's head. She planned to use these photos to threaten Seo-yu. After that, she secretly disguised herself as a masked person, arranged to meet Seo-yu's manager to exchange those very embarrassing photos in exchange for him clearing Seo-yu's schedule for 3 days, so that she would have the opportunity to drag this troublemaker on a trip with her. Meanwhile, Hyun-min was going to a cosmetic surgery hospital, asking the doctor to change his face. Whether he was handsome or not didn't matter, as long as he changed his face. The doctor almost choked when he heard this, because he had also seen the video of him on the internet. After that, he advised Hyun-min to find a psychologist instead. Every day, Hyun-min brought a dazed look on his face, and did some strange things in the garden. He sat in a corner counting the leaves on the tree, muttering in his mouth, "Loves her, doesn't love her." Seeing this, Ha-won approached to care for and ask about him, but he didn't want to pay attention to her. She tried to invite Hyun-min to travel with her to relax, but he still blankly sat counting the leaves on the tree. Knowing that the young master Ji-eun was secretly in love with the beauty Ha-ji, Ha-won quickly went to see Ha-ji. Ha-won earnestly invited Ha-ji to travel with her and the 3 guys. On the trip would be Ha-won, Ha-ji, Hyun-min, Seo-yu, and Ji-eun. Ha-won told the truth. She received orders from the chairman to make them agree to travel together. It was said that the Hanul group's resort villa was very beautiful, but she alone couldn't get the 3 of them to go together. She thought that if Ha-ji went along, the 3 of them would definitely go. At this time, the young master Ji-eun suddenly walked in, scolding Ha-won for having to go to such lengths. But surprisingly, Ha-ji agreed to travel with Ha-won. Even so, the eldest of the Kang family still insisted on his decision not to go. After Ha-won left in embarrassment, Ha-ji turned to confide in Ji-eun that she wanted to revisit the Hanul group's resort villa. If he didn't want to go, it was okay too. But Ji-eun didn't know that Ha-ji was still not confident enough to face Hyun-min alone. When Hyun-min groggily woke up, he found himself on a plane. He was dazed, stunned, and shocked, not knowing why he was here. He unfastened his seatbelt and ran forward to ask where he was. But everyone turned their faces away and didn't bother to answer. Because he was too noisy, he was carried back to his seat by 2 security guards. Hyun-min helplessly sulked and kicked off his slippers. After arriving at the resort, Ha-won prepared group shirts for everyone, but everyone seemed perfunctory and went back to their rooms. Yoon-sung called to report to Chairman Kang, but he told him that he didn't need to report in such detail and to take advantage of this opportunity to rest. Because she didn't want to give up any opportunity to help the 3 troublesome brothers understand each other better, Ha-won pasted each schedule in each person's room. After that, she went to find Hyun-min and saw him sunbathing at the pool. She knew he was still angry at her for making him the laughingstock of everyone and kidnapping him here. Ha-won had to apologize, But Hyun-min, being difficult, wasn't willing to easily forgive her. He criticized her for being a leftover woman who didn't know how to look at people, and that her views on love were too backward. After that, he used the excuse that he needed to rest and chased her away. Ha-won left in a huff, scolding him as a womanizer who only knew how to sleep all day long. After Ha-won left, Hae-ji put on her swimsuit and came over. Hyun-min thought Ha-won hadn't left and was about to open his mouth to chase her away, but he saw Hae-ji swimming in the water. Ashore, Hae-ji asked if he still remembered when they were little and often swam here, and he was always slower than her? Hyun-min only perfunctorily replied that he didn't remember much. Seeing this, Hae-ji invited him to swim with her like when they were little. Hyun-min used the excuse that he didn't bring a swimsuit and was about to turn around and leave. Just then, Hae-ji had a cramp. Seeing this, Hyun-min jumped down and carried her ashore. After that, he helped her massage her cramped leg. She thanked him, but he only indifferently replied that anyone would do the same, and then got up and left. Over here, the stepmother and her daughter were plotting and scheming together. They thought that if Ha-won went with her biological father, she would leave the Hanul mansion. She said that she had spent so much money on food, clothing, rice, and money to raise a child who was not her own blood. Therefore, she was determined to find Ha-won's biological father to demand that money back. At this time, Ha-won was feeding the goats. She said to them, "It seems that only you guys are willing to play with me. You must be very happy to have so many friends to eat with, right?" Ha-won suddenly remembered how happy her family was when she was young. She recalled the moment when she played with her parents at the campground. How long had it been since she had laughed and joked so happily? Ha-won blamed herself for wasting her efforts planning, then optimistically thought that if no one participated with her, she would do it herself. When she was feeding the horses carrots, Ji-eun walked in. He asked her, "Is this what you call a horse riding experience?" She only glanced at him and replied that for her, this was already riding a horse. After that, Ji-eun pulled her to ride horses together, but she refused in fear because she had never ridden a horse before. He sarcastically said that she was very good at planning, but when it came time to try it, she didn't dare to try. Finally, Ha-won reluctantly agreed. Ji-eun let her sit in front, and he sat behind holding the reins. He told her to relax a little. She wouldn't die. "You also know how to be afraid?" Ha-won replied, "Of course, because this is the first time I've ridden a horse." After that, the two rode together on horseback along the beautiful little road. While CEO Seo-yu was questioning Jia-dong about whether she had sent the photos of him wearing women's clothes to Ha-won, Ji-eun suddenly came over and put things in his hands. He told him to prepare for tonight's barbecue, because Ji-eun had to go to the supermarket to buy food. "If you have any complaints, take it to the authorities." Over here, Ha-won and Ji-eun, after riding horses, walked back together. While walking, Ha-won suddenly discovered that she had lost her necklace. Ha-won told Ji-eun to go back first, and she would go back to look for it, because she thought that maybe the necklace had fallen off while riding the horse. But Ji-eun was uneasy and followed her. Seeing her panikedly search carefully, Ji-eun asked if that necklace was very important. Ha-won didn't hesitate and replied that the necklace was a memento left by her mother. Ji-eun said that if he could find it, Ha-won would owe him a wish. Was that okay? Ha-won smiled, saying what kind of deal was that, but still implicitly agreed. At that time, Jia-dong and Seo-yu were preparing barbecue while talking to each other. He asked her if, besides Ha-won, she didn't send those pictures to anyone else, right? Jia-dong confirmed that she had only shown those photos to Ha-won. Seo-yu was also speechless. He probed, were the two of them very close? Jia-dong replied that the two of them played well together, and she knew everything about Ha-won. Ha-won's family wasn't the impoverished type, but her stepmother never gave her money, and her stepsister always took advantage of her. Her father was away, working far away, so he wasn't often at home. The most outrageous thing was that just because her stepsister wanted a private room, her stepmother had kicked Ha-won out to sleep on the balcony. Hearing this, Seo-yu resentfully threw the meat skewer on the ground. Immediately realizing that his actions were a bit too extreme, Seo-yu quickly picked up the meat skewer and pretended to be calm. Seo-yu probed again, asking if Ha-won had ever dated before, but Jia-dong confirmed that Ha-won had never dated. She had never had a single romantic relationship, and even didn't have an ideal type, because her life was difficult enough. After that, Jia-dong asked back, "You seem to care about Ha-won too much, huh?" Seo-yu had to use the reason that the two of them were people from the same house, so they cared about each other. At this time, Ha-won and Ji-eun still hadn't found the necklace. Seeing him work so hard for her, she could only say sorry. She asked him if coming here was all for Hae-ji, right? Ji-eun didn't directly answer her but asked back who had taken advantage of that. She recounted to him that when she left the Hanul mansion, Hae-ji had let her stay for one night. Because she was very grateful to Hae-ji, Ha-won had invited her to come along. It was also the first time she had stayed at someone else's house. She felt that the two had really become friends, so she invited Hae-ji to travel together, not because of the task Chairman Kang assigned. Ji-eun, hearing this, praised her for doing a good job, then turned around to leave. Unexpectedly, just at this time, he saw Ha-won's necklace. He turned around again, telling Ha-won to think of a condition if he found the necklace. Finally, she had to compromise to fulfill one of his wishes. Ji-eun smugly dropped the necklace in front of Ha-won. Ha-won innocently happily pounced into Ji-eun's arms. After realizing that she was going too far, she let go and said thank you to him. She also told him that it was the only keepsake from her mother. She thought it was a very important item to her mother, because before her death, she was still holding it tightly. After confiding, the two returned together. At this time, Hae-ji went to Hyun-min's room. She picked up the wet clothes and thought he had nothing to change into, intending to take them to wash when Hyun-min came out and snatched them back, asking her what she was doing. Hae-ji advised him to borrow Ji-eun's clothes, but he looked disdainful, saying that if she came here for Ji-eun, she should go play with him. Hae-ji quickly said that she came here only for him. It had been 15 years since the two had returned here together. Didn't he feel anything? Hyun-min said that it didn't mean anything, then intended to turn around and leave. Hae-ji said again that she went out to sea just now, and it was still there, unchanged at all. It was the bench where he had carved his name and said he loved her. Hae-ji told him that he really hadn't changed at all. Hearing this, Hyun-min turned back and said, "That's right, so you should just stop." Hearing this, Hae-ji could only sadly leave. When Ji-eun and Ha-won returned, they saw Hae-ji standing alone on the bridge. Knowing that the two of them had something they wanted to say to each other, Ha-won quickly left first. While Ha-won was taking a bath, Ji-eun came to find his phone that he had forgotten. He thought the person inside was Hyun-min, so he opened the door innocently. But before he could see, Ha-won threw a bar of soap at his face. He shouted, "What are you doing?" But when he heard Ha-won's voice, he was startled, said sorry, and covered his mouth and ran out. While Ji-eun was pacing back and forth in front of the bathroom door, Ha-won opened the door and walked out. The two looked at each other awkwardly. He explained that because the door was broken, he was standing guard to prevent anyone from entering. After that, the two left together. After returning to her room, Ha-won kept pacing back and forth, not knowing what to do. Her best friend walked in, asking if she was hot, saying that drinking milk after bathing was great. In order to prevent her best friend from noticing her abnormality, Ha-won quickly thanked her and ran out to find milk. She left in such a hurry that she didn't have time to hear the whole sentence. The one with the golden cap is the milk, and drank the wrong one. That night, while Jun-sung and Seo-yu were preparing barbecue, Ha-won ran out and did all sorts of crazy things. Jun-sung, seeing her behaving strangely, was surprised and asked, "Are you not feeling well?" Ha-won nonchalantly replied, "That's right, I'm feeling very bad." Finally, everyone realized that she was drunk from accidentally drinking the whole bottle of alcohol. Ha-won blamed everyone for not being willing to play with her, so she had to quietly play alone. Going on a trip with friends was her dream. She had been really looking forward to this trip, but no one was willing to play together. Everyone felt amused to see Seo-yu arguing with Amaman. After that, she forced everyone to wear the clothes she had prepared and play games, making everyone feel helpless. Thanks to Ha-won, everyone felt very happy that night to be themselves. The secretary Jun-sung also, because of a few sips of alcohol, after calling her name, passed out. Seo-yu, after getting drunk, also turned to say he loved Hyun-min, making him get goosebumps. Jun-sung vomited all over Seo-yu, which Hyun-min saw and ran away quickly. After being taken back to his room, he was still talking in his sleep, sitting up then lying down to sleep again. Hyun-min was sitting in the flower garden getting some air when Hae-ji came over. He intended to get up and leave when she told him to sit down for a while. Hae-ji also sat down next to him, then opened her mouth to thank him for saving her that morning. Hyun-min snidely said that he would do the same for anyone. Hae-ji said that next time she would warm up better. After that, she asked him if he remembered the inscription carved on the bench that he, she, and they often teased each other was childish. The two sat and reminisced about the old days and remembered their childhood. Suddenly, Hae-ji sat closer to Hyun-min and kissed him. Hyun-min was immersed in the kiss, then suddenly got up. Hae-ji said that if Hyun-min didn't remember anything, she would like someone else, but he coldly replied that he didn't care. Ji-eun was dead drunk but kept saying he loved Ha-won, and even made heart gestures, but she just told him to get out. Hearing this, Ji-eun said it even louder, but Ha-won still insisted that he leave quickly. The third time, Ji-eun shouted, "I love you." At this time, Ha-won sat up and asked back, "Really?" After that, the two drunks sat and laughed with each other. Ji-eun kissed Ha-won's lips, then snatched the glass of wine from her hand and drained it. He even knocked over the coat rack. After drinking, he pulled Ha-won's face closer and kissed her again. After finishing, he asked her again if Ha-won had just kissed him, then continued to kiss her lips. The next morning, Ha-won unconsciously woke up. In her dream, she dreamed that she and Ji-eun, the two, had kissed passionately. Stepping out of the door, still in a daze from being drunk yesterday, she suddenly saw the troublemaker Ji-eun lying right in front of the door, sleeping soundly. Seeing him, she involuntarily remembered the scene yesterday when the two drank wine together until they were drunk and pounced on each other. Ha-won was so embarrassed that she didn't know where to put her face and quietly ran away. Entering the bathroom, she jumped up and down like a grasshopper, But then she carelessly stepped on a bar of soap, resulting in her falling and hitting her head, lying motionless on the bathroom floor. Everyone, each in their own place, suddenly heard Ha-won's terrified scream and hurriedly ran over. The secretary quickly took her to the hospital for emergency treatment. But fortunately, after the examination, the doctor came out and announced that she only had a mild brain injury. She would wake up soon, only that she was sleeping very soundly now. After that, the butler called to report that Ha-won was fine. There were no serious problems to the three troublemakers at home. The butler said that he would take Ha-won back to Seoul safely, so the young masters should voluntarily return to the Hanin mansion. After hearing this, Seo-yu told his cousins to quickly pack their clothes and return to Seoul together. At this time, our naive heroine Ha-won groggily woke up from her trance. As soon as she opened her eyes, she asked the nurse what day it was today. When she heard the nurse say that today was only the 15th, Ha-won widened her eyes and sat up in a daze, saying, "Why? Not even one day has passed yet?" After that, her best friend Radong saw that Ha-won had woken up and immediately ran in. But the Cinderella Ha-won still sang, insisting on the idea that when people fainted, they would temporarily lose their memory. Back at the Hanin mansion, Ha-won was using 2 crutches because her metatarsal bone had been broken due to the fall in the bathroom. As soon as she arrived at the door, everyone ran out to welcome her. Ha-won saw Ji-eun and immediately remembered what happened last night when she and he kissed passionately. Ha-won was so embarrassed that she didn't know where to hide her face, so she threw down the 2 crutches and hopped quickly back to her room. Over here, the doctor informed Jun-sung that the chairman's cirrhosis was getting worse and worse. If he didn't get a transplant, the chairman's liver would soon be completely damaged. The only option now was to have a new liver transplant. That evening, while walking outdoors, the beauty Haiji probed Ji-eun, asking if there was something going on between him and Ha-won. Since being at the Hanin mansion, she felt that the two seemed to be shy with each other. She thought that Ha-won was deliberately avoiding Ji-eun. Ji-eun smelled the embarrassment and stammeringly justified that Ha-won was probably embarrassed about the falling incident, but there was nothing going on between the two. Now that Ha-won's leg was in a cast, she received everyone's care and attention. Even the troublesome young masters, who usually only knew how to be lazy, were now each doing something to take care of her. The womanizing Hyun Min, seeing that Ha-won's wardrobe had nothing to wear, ran off to buy her clothes, and the artist Seo-yu ran into the kitchen, pushing a huge table of food into Ha-won's room to nourish her. Even when he saw her eating less than usual, he panicked and carefully asked about her, massaging each part of her body to see if she was injured anywhere else. He saw that today Ha-won showed signs of being disinterested in eating, so she was very different from Ha-won every day. Seeing this, she smiled brightly with emotion. Over here, Jun-sung was sitting and talking with the doctor. The doctor said that, given the current situation, Chairman Kang would have to wait at least 2 to 3 years. However, if a relative was willing to donate a liver, his surgery schedule would be moved up. But Chairman Kang instructed him to keep this a secret from his family at all costs. Night came. Ji-eun also, because of the kiss with Ha-won, sat smiling foolishly all evening. When he passed her room, he peeked in but didn't see Ha-won. As if instinctively, he sensed that something was wrong and immediately ran in. As soon as he entered, he saw Ha-won lying upside down with her legs up in the air in the bathroom. Because her leg was in a cast, it couldn't get wet, so she had to tie plastic bags to her legs and wash her hair herself. Ji-eun saw Ha-won's current appearance was both pitiful and comical, so he helped her wash her hair. Ji-eun proudly said, "Besides me, no one would do this for you, you silly girl." And the relationship between Haiji and Hyun Min at this time was getting worse and worse. At that moment, in the large lobby, under Ji-eun's witness, she said directly to the troublemaker Hyun Min, "From now on, I will not shed tears for Hyun Min anymore. I also want to give up on you. So Ji-eun, will you accept me?" Just at that time, Ha-won unintentionally heard these words. She didn't know what to do besides stand still. Hyun Min went back to his room, while Ji-eun seemed hesitant. Hye-ji told him that he didn't need to answer her immediately, then said goodnight and returned to her room. Ha-won went out to return his watch, casually teasing, "You probably won't be able to sleep tonight, right? Because you really like Hye-ji." She asked, "Are the two of you going to date?" After that, she said goodnight and also returned to her room. Ji-eun went to his room, tossing and turning, thinking about the words Hye-ji said and remembering the first time he met her. When he had just moved in, he saw Hye-ji sitting alone crying in the mansion. Ji-eun, seeing her cry like that, remembered his mother, who had also been heartbroken like that. After that, he fell asleep outside, and Hye-ji, seeing this, put a coat on him. Perhaps that was why he developed a liking for that gentle girl. Ending the flashback, Ji-eun covered himself with a blanket and went to sleep. The next day, Ha-won went online to find out how to know if someone liked her. Someone commented that the person would never get angry at her no matter what happened, because boys would never get angry at the person they loved. Seeing this, she tried it out. Seeing Ji-eun passing by, Ha-won took a book and threw it at his head, then said that her hand slipped. It wasn't intentional. Ji-eun, seeing this, just hugged his head and left. After that, while he was holding a glass of orange juice preparing to drink, Ha-won deliberately whistled, causing the orange juice to spill all over him. He didn't know what she was doing, but seeing her apologize, he had to let it go. Finally, she came to his secret hideout and messed up all the furniture and bedding. When Ji-eun returned, he saw that his room was like a battlefield and went crazy, going to find Ha-won. At this time, she still innocently asked back, "What did I do? Why are you treating a sick person badly?" At this time, he was furious but didn't know what to do, so he had to say, "If you're too idle, go to sleep." After that, he intended to go out when Ha-won threw a pillow at him. He was about to turn around and get angry when she asked, "Anyway, you don't care if I'm in pain or not. You've never worried about me, and you haven't bought anything for me to eat." Hearing this, he only remained silent, then asked, "Are you a child? Don't cause any more trouble," then left, leaving Ha-won resentful in the room. After Haiji met Ji-eun, she asked, "Don't you have anything to say about what happened the other day?" Ji-eun's movement suddenly stopped. He turned to reply, "Were what you said that day sincere?" Haiji said, "Yes, I was sincere." On the way back, he remembered what Haiji had said. While absent-mindedly thinking, he suddenly saw a bakery, remembered Ha-won, and got out of the car to buy bread for her. As soon as he entered the door, Ji-eun ran into the fool Hyun-min. Hyun-min asked, "Are you enjoying your date? Always hanging around Haiji in a pathetic but effective way, huh?" Ji-eun immediately replied, "Now that Haiji wants to date me, you feel regretful? What did you want to find Haiji for this afternoon? Hurry up and tell me. I'll answer in her place." Seeing Hyun-min grab his collar, he continued, "Your reaction shows me one thing clearly, that you regret it, right? Before you regret it even more, why don't you go and win her back?" After having a war of words with that fool, Ji-eun went into the kitchen to find Ha-won and gave her the bread he had bought. After taking a few steps, he turned back and said, "I bought you something, okay? Don't complain to me later," then happily went back to his room. Ha-won happily ate, drank milk, and listened to music. The atmosphere at this time was perfect for taking a nap. Until the next morning. At this time, Hyun-min was sadly sitting and drinking alone at the bar when a woman came over to strike up a conversation. She asked Hyun-min, "Why are you drinking so much alone?" Hyun-min didn't even bother to look, just opened his mouth and said aimlessly, "Do you think you like anyone other than me?" Hyun-min was sitting talking to himself. But the woman next to him thought he was talking to her, so she also opened her mouth to respond, then stuck close to him. The next morning, when Ha-won went to the hospital to re-examine her broken leg, Jun-sung, who was next to her, gave all kinds of instructions, such as being careful and remembering to report the condition of her leg to him. Because that uncle's secretary was talking too much, she had to find Ji-eun to ask him to take her. Hearing this, Ji-eun confusedly asked back, "Now, I even have to escort you to the hospital?" Ha-won nonchalantly replied that Uncle Jun-sung was busy, Seo-woo was out taking photos, and Hyun-min was nowhere to be found, so she asked him. But Ji-eun still insisted that he wasn't going. Ha-won used the hardship tactic again. She asked him if she had to drag this painful leg to take the bus or subway. Her face at this time looked very pitiful, but even though she spoke until her throat was sore, Ji-eun still didn't agree. Over here, Jun-sung was taking the chairman's wife to meet someone. Even in his dreams, he didn't expect that the wife would actually take him on a blind date. But Jun-sung only apologized and left. The wife ran after him asking what he was doing. Jun-sung angrily shouted, "This is what I should be asking you. Why do you have to do these things?" It turned out that the wife was Jun-sung's biological mother. The wife said that her mother's wish was to see her son marry a prestigious young lady and live a fulfilling life. Jun-sung turned to ask his mother, "So that's why you're taking advantage of the chairman, Mom?" She didn't hesitate and admitted it, even saying what was wrong with her doing that. But Jun-sung only said indifferently that she shouldn't use him as an excuse. He would pretend that nothing had ever happened, like their promise from back then. She remembered when Chairman Kang said he would introduce someone trustworthy to her, but unexpectedly that person was Jun-sung, the son she had abandoned 12 years ago. She hoped that Jun-sung would pretend not to know her because she wanted to live as a woman without burdens for the rest of her life. After hearing this, Jun-sung felt very heartbroken. Tears rolled down his cheeks, but he didn't say a word and only silently endured it. As soon as Ha-won came out, she saw Ji-eun standing and waiting for a long time. She happily walked towards him on crutches. Ji-eun was about to get in the car when Ha-won asked him to open the car door for her. Then the two went to the hospital together. Arriving there, the doctor said that she had recovered, which made her a little unhappy. Turning around to look at Ji-eun, she saw him smirking at her. Ha-won tried to signal the doctor, but he didn't understand and still insisted that her leg was healed. Hearing this, Ji-eun threw her crutches down and walked outside. He was very annoyed because he had mistaken a healthy person for someone sick and weak. Therefore, he told her to go home by herself. "Your leg is healed, so there's no reason for me to take you home anymore." Ha-won asked him, "You're that upset about this? Does coming to the hospital with me make you that disgusted?" Seeing her tense attitude, he quickly said that he was just joking, but she didn't listen and left. Ji-eun drove to find Ha-won. He didn't expect her to be angry at his joke. Moreover, she had left her bag in his car. While driving, he saw Ha-won walking along the road. so Ji-eun stopped the car and told her to get in. Ha-won was very happy, but pretended to be angry and turned away. "I thought you wanted me to go take the bus or subway home by myself. What are you still doing here?" Ji-eun was amused by her attitude but still wanted to tease her. He asked her if she had any money, then raised her handbag and waved it. Finally, Ji-eun had to get out of the car, open the door and coax her before Ha-won agreed to get in the car. He took her for a drive around the road. The cool air and beautiful scenery made her happily reach out to greet the wind. Over here, the fool Hyun-min was playing billiards with his friends. Everyone was wondering why this guy was suddenly so competitive. Suddenly the phone rang. It was Haiji. But he didn't bother to answer and told his friend to turn it off. Over here, the Ji-ha couple, Won and Ji-eun, were happily playing and talking on the top of the mountain. Very happy. Suddenly, Ji-eun received a phone call from Haiji. She said that she really needed him now, so please come to her quickly. Hearing this, his attitude changed 180 degrees. He told Ha-won to go back immediately because he had something to do. He made an excuse to go to Haiji. Truly, men are hateful. Ha-won, sitting in the car, also understood the story. She sadly and resentfully said to Ji-eun, "Just let me down here and go to Haiji quickly. It's okay, I'm fine," but in fact, our Ha-won was not fine at all. After getting out of the car, she took a deep breath, then sadly took the bus home. Sitting on the bus, her emotions were very mixed at this time, and tears just fell. I really feel sorry for our Princess Ha-won. And that deceitful Ji-eun at this time had arrived to meet the beauty Haiji. Haiji cried and lamented that someone from the court had come to her house, and now the house had been put up for auction. Her father had also been taken to the prosecutor's office for questioning, and now she didn't know what to do. After that, she put on a weak expression and hugged Ji-eun to receive sympathy. At this time, Hyun-min, who was at home playing games, also received news that the Youngshin Construction Company had gone bankrupt. That was Haiji's father's company. He was startled and about to run out when he unexpectedly met Ha-won coming home. The two were awkwardly arguing back and forth when suddenly, Ha-won drove Haiji back and said, "From now on, she will temporarily stay here with us." With Haiji's expression at this time, there must be a big ambition in her heart, which is to be the wife of the Kang group. After that, Ha-won reluctantly brought Haiji to stay in the same room. But Haiji, being tactless, confided in Ha-won that she was very happy that Ji-eun was always by her side. "When I was alone just now, I felt very scared. Fortunately, Ji-eun came in time. Whenever there's an incident, the first person to come to my side is always Ji-eun." Haiji said it just for fun, but who knew those words would hurt Ha-won's heart. While Ha-won was remaking the bedsheets, that deceitful Ji-eun walked in, blankly asking her, "When did you get home? Did you take the bus? Was there a traffic jam? I was just curious to know if you got home safe." Ha-won, hearing those stupid questions, was angry and turned around to fan his face a bit. "Of course I'm safe, that's why I'm standing here. You jerk." After that, he was even more out of it when he asked Ha-won to take care of Haiji for him, really wanting to go crazy. If it were me, I would run over and kick him in the mouth a few times. He only cares about Haiji and doesn't bother to think about the feelings of our Cinderella princess. The next morning, when she woke up, Ha-won was very surprised, asking the housekeeper why the mansion was so quiet today. The housekeeper said that on the first morning after Haiji moved in, everything was turned upside down. First, the youngest Seowoo, in the morning, yawned sleepily and walked out of his room looking disheveled, not as neat, tidy, and handsome as he usually was at his performances. Usually it would be fine, but today there was also the beauty Haiji, and the womanizing Hyun-min encountered another incident. When the housekeeper was cleaning in the living room, she raised Hyun-min's pink briefs and asked, "Are these the young masters?" causing Hyun-min to be so embarrassed that he didn't know where to hide his face. After Ji-eun finished exercising and running around the Hanul mansion, Haiji enthusiastically ran over to take care of him like a newlywed couple. The housekeeper standing behind witnessing everything was so surprised that her mouth dropped open. It was really too ridiculous. How could this mansion change so quickly? And it was all because of one girl. It was too amazing. Ha-won explained to the housekeeper, "Well, when I first came, it was the same. When I moved in with the three sons, they also kept their distance from me. But it wasn't like this at that time. Before or after you came here, the young masters didn't change like this. But anyway, I know now that young master Ji-eun is also very gentle with women. Well, Park Haiji looks so beautiful, she's as pretty as a doll. But someone was caught with their just woken up appearance, and someone was seen with their underwear in front of Haiji. The young masters must be very embarrassed. Ha ha ha." After returning to her room, Ha-won angrily shouted, "You men are all the same. You only care about women's faces and bodies?" Suddenly, Ha-won saw on the table a book titled The Queen and the Attraction, which wrote, "Your unique charm will attract the person that destiny has determined for you." After reading it, she looked in the mirror and carefully admired her face. Ha-won confidently said, "That's right, I also have my own charm." Then she ran right to the dressing table. For the first time, she touched accessories such as earrings and hairbands. Not only that, she also tried to change her style of dress with many outfits. After finishing dressing up, she stepped out of the room in a gorgeous dress, causing the youngest Seo-yu to be so surprised that he dropped the TV remote he was holding. He was surprised only because Ha-won was too beautiful today, very different from usual. This younger brother, seeing this, excitedly called out to his older brothers to come and admire her. The Cinderella Ha-won, dressed up for the first time, shyly ran into the room. Meanwhile, Ji-eun was standing in the storage room, thinking about the times Ha-won had avoided him and been angry with him. He guessed right away that she was still angry with him. At the same time, Haiji went to the police station to ask to see her father for a moment. But the chief police officer didn't agree and asked her to leave. Seeing Haiji sad and depressed all day, the young master Hyunmin used all his connections to help Haiji's father handle this corruption case. His friend's father was the superior of the judge in Haiji's father's case, so he could say a few words to help her father. After returning home, Hyunmin gave Haiji the letter her father wrote to her while in prison. Haiji was very surprised. But what couldn't this guy do? You don't have to thank me. But I'm doing this because last time you called and I didn't answer, so I felt sorry. Thinking that Haiji would be happy, she instead said bluntly that he didn't need to do that next time. She didn't feel comfortable being helped by him. After that, Haiji sadly left, letting Hyunmin intend to give her a gift. So he had to run to Ji-eun's room asking him to take Haiji to get the gift. The next morning, when they arrived at that place, Haiji was very happy because it was full of the most wonderful and meaningful things in her life. Those were the measuring tools of a fashion designer. Haiji was overjoyed, while Ji-eun was shy, not knowing if he should tell her the truth. After returning home, Ji-eun immediately went to Hyunmin's room, saying he had done exactly as Hyunmin had instructed. But he didn't understand why Hyunmin didn't give it to Haiji directly. After that, he said that next time he wouldn't help Hyunmin do things like that again. However, Hyunmin still had to ask Ji-eun to take care of Haiji a lot, because Ji-eun had no reason to refuse, while Hyunmin had no right to do so. Hyunmin was good at hurting Haiji but didn't know how to comfort her. Ha-won was wandering alone around the Hanin mansion. While walking, she muttered aimlessly, "I hope the two of them have a wonderful relationship." Ji-eun unexpectedly appeared like a genie, asking, "It seems that Ha-won is jealous because I care about Haiji, right?" After that, he apologized to her for leaving her alone. Finally, he promised that some other day the two of them would go out for a drive again. Ha-won, hearing this, shyly blushed, pretending to put on airs, but in her heart she was so happy and joyful. Back in the room, Haiji announced to Ha-won that she wanted to start a new relationship with Ji-eun. Ha-won, hearing this, could only stand there frozen for 5 seconds and was completely shocked. Next, there's some good news for you all. Haha. When Chairman Kang's wife went to Ha-won's stepmother's shop for a massage, the stepmother's talkative and gossipy mouth made the wife angry. She angrily jumped up, ran down to report to the resort manager, and demanded that the manager fire the stepmother to vent her anger. Truly, karma doesn't spare anyone. Back home, she was extremely angry. She cried like her mother-in-law had just died yesterday. In the end, both mother and daughter cried like they had never cried before. Serves the evil stepmother right. Over here, at the Han-eon mansion, when Haiji had just washed her hair and stepped out of the room, but because her clothes were wet and hadn't dried yet, she borrowed Ha-won's clothes to wear temporarily. Hyunmin saw it, thinking Haiji was Ha-won, so he went close to hug her from behind, like the actions he often did with Ha-won. When the two turned around and realized the problem, they quickly avoided each other. Hyunmin was still dazed, not knowing what was happening, while Haiji was extremely angry at Hyunmin's extremely rude actions. At this time, a man wearing a very strange hat suddenly appeared from somewhere. The housekeeper reported to Ha-won that, "Your father is here." She was happy, thinking it was the father who had raised her from a young age coming to visit. But no. In front of her was a crude man, claiming his name was Young, who used to open a taekwondo class with her mother. After that, he asked her if her mother had never told her about her biological father. After knowing the whole truth, Ha-won not only didn't accept her biological father, but was also shocked and angrily left. It seemed that this father was also not respectable or decent. Probably all this time he never came back to visit his daughter. And now, seeing Ha-won living comfortably, being liked by the chairman of the group, he was planning to come back here to find his daughter to take advantage of her wealth. How despicable. At this time, the young master Ji-woon had also just returned home. He had also just heard from the housekeeper that someone had come here and claimed to be Ha-won's father, but she didn't seem happy and had cried and left somewhere. At this time, Ha-won was walking in the cold night, remembering the words that man had said to her. She was hurt and cried loudly. After hearing the news, Ji-woon was very worried and drove to find Ha-won everywhere. Ha-won was now at the church, looking at her mother's urn, remembering the man who appeared out of nowhere, claiming to be her biological father, and remembering the one who raised her, who had given her a hard slap and said he shouldn't raise a child for someone else. She looked at her mother's portrait and said to herself, "That's not true. Please tell me that's not true." After that, she helplessly hugged the pillow and burst into tears. After knowing the story, Ji-woon hurried to drive there. Seeing her like that, he was very heartbroken. Ha-won intended to ask him why he was here, but he spoke first, saying that he was worried about her. He was worried that she would cry alone or be in pain. She replied that if he came here because she had called earlier, it was nothing. She had just come to visit her mother for a bit. Suddenly, Ji-eun hugged her, saying, "You don't need to say anything more. Cry as much as you want. I'll be here with you." Hearing this, Ha-won burst into tears, and the emotions she had been suppressing for so long just turned into tears and flowed out. At the Hanian mansion, the housekeeper was explaining that someone had come here claiming to be Ha-won's father, so she had let him in. Ha-won said to Ji-eun, "Suddenly I have two fathers. It's funny, right?" Hearing this, Ji-eun only said that, "A year ago, Yoon Sung suddenly came to find me. He said that I was the grandson of the chairman of the Han Eon Group, and my real name was Kang Ji-woon. But I had never met this father, and I had never heard my mother talk about him. He thought his emotions back then were similar to hers now, so he could understand how much this made Ha-won feel bewildered and confused. The two had the same fate in life, sad and confided, and seemed to have relieved the burden in their hearts. The next morning, Ha-won received a call from the funeral home. She was very surprised to learn that she had to pay the fees twice this month. Even more surprising was that the person who helped her pay the fees was the person who claimed to be her father. While she was feeling confused, Seo-yu called her outside. It turned out that he had cooked noodles for her. After that, he looked at Ha-won eating and felt worried. He said that she was always the one trying to solve his family's problems, but he felt that they couldn't do anything for her. Ha-won told him that yesterday she was fine because Ji-eun had come. Ji-eun always pushed her away, but in his heart he was probably a kind person. Also, the top star Seo-yu even made breakfast for me. It's very worthwhile to work at the Hanan mansion. When Ha-won finished eating and went outside, she saw Hyun-min with his face against the wall, not knowing what he was doing. Seeing her appear behind him, he was startled. He mocked her for already eating. Of course, she wasn't the type to starve herself. "It seems Seo-yu is very worried about you, so I told him that you are very strong." Seeing the uniform on the table, Hyun-min remembered the moment he mistook her for Hae-ji. He snidely said that next time she should never wear that uniform because it looked very sloppy, then left. Ji-eun met the person who claimed to be Ha-won's father. He took him to a cafe to talk privately. After listening to him tell a few stories, Ji-eun gave him some money, telling him to buy clothes and food. He also gave him his phone number, saying that if there was anything he needed help with, he should call him. Over here, Jun Sung discovered that the chairman's wife was meeting privately with his lawyer. He gave her a copy of the will and promised to meet again after she had finished reading it. After leaving there, Jun Sung went to question her. It turned out that just for money, she had pretended not to know her son after 15 years of separation. She didn't hesitate to say she did everything for Jun Sung. Did Jun Sung still intend to take care of that troublemaking bunch after Chairman Kang died? Jun Sung said directly, "Mom, don't pretend to be benevolent anymore. You left me, so don't ever come back to find me. If you want to come back into my life, don't use this method." After that, he left. On Ha-won's side, she called her father, saying that if he was free, they should go eat a meal together. At this time, he had spent all the money Ji-eun gave him playing games but still pretended to say that he was at work, which made her feel very sorry. After arriving, he only focused on the food on the table. When he heard Ha-won ask, "I heard that you paid the fees for Mom's ashes at the funeral home," he immediately pretended to be sentimental, saying that it was something he should do. Between her mother and him, there were things that she couldn't possibly know. The two of them went to the same university and opened a taekwondo class together, but they realized their feelings for each other when it was too late. Ha-won asked again why he had only come to find her now. He immediately replied that his apartment had burned down, and at the same time he had lost his martial arts class. At that time he was heavily in debt and had to live very hard. Only after his economic situation stabilized did he dare to go find his daughter. And yet, after hearing him recount everything, Ha-won immediately got up, saying she had something to do and would be back in a moment. After Ha-won left, he said to himself that he hadn't even mentioned the matter of money yet. Ha-won went to a clothing store, buying him several new outfits, but when she came back, she saw him secretly rummaging through her bag. After returning to her seat, she asked, "Are you still having financial difficulties?" Hearing that, he was overjoyed, as if catching gold. He immediately hurried to complain, not even knowing shame as he opened his mouth to ask her for money. When he heard Ha-won say that she didn't have that much money either, he told her to go ask the Chairman Kang's grandson. She asked back why he knew Ji-eun, and he nonchalantly replied, "When I went to the mansion to find you, I accidentally met him. I think he thinks you're very special, and he's probably very generous because he's rich. He even gave me money to treat you to a good meal." She was very surprised to learn that he dared to take his money, then angrily left. Ha-won returned home and met Ji-eun. She asked him, "Do you feel sorry for me? I heard you gave him money. You told me about your story a year ago and said we were facing the same situation, so I thought we had to endure the same pain. But I guess I was wrong. I didn't suddenly win the lottery like you. I also can't complain about this situation. It's already hard enough for me to overcome fate every day. Why did you make me feel worse?" She told him not to interfere in her personal affairs anymore, then left. After that, Ji-eun remembered when her father called him and said he wanted to rent an apartment in Seoul, but because Ha-won was embarrassed, he helped him out. At this time, he realized that he had been tricked by him, so he was very angry. He went to where he was working and saw him treating everyone to drinks. He even heard them ask him, "Where did you get the money from?" He immediately told them, "I just found a kind-hearted benefactor," which made Ji-eun very angry. At this time, Hyun-min was sitting and remembering his childhood memories with Hae-ji's siblings. He remembered that just because he was playing with him, her brother had been hit by a car, which made him feel very guilty. On Ha-won's side, she had just withdrawn all of her savings to give to her father. He was both surprised and happy, asking, "Have you gotten all the rent money already?" But she replied, "No. This is the money you paid for the funeral home, and I'm returning it to you. I have no reason to accept this money from you. You know, I can't accept you as my father." When he questioned her if she thought he was lying, Ji-eun arrived. He placed an envelope on the table, in which was the paternity test of Ha-won and him, but while he was hesitating and didn't dare to look, Ha-won snatched it and tore it up. After that, she told him that she didn't need to see it because she believed her mother. Mom would never love a man like this. After that, she turned to tell him, "If you need money, then you found the wrong person, because I don't have any money, I'm just a part-time worker there. Therefore, we have no reason to meet again." As she turned to leave, he suddenly said, "I had no other choice either. If it wasn't for the fire in the apartment, my life wouldn't have been completely ruined like this." Hearing that, Ha-won turned back and asked, "Your life was completely ruined? Do you know, every day people lose their lives, like my mother? Do you think what my life became after that day? But even so, I've never thought my life was ruined. The person who ruined your life is only you." After saying that, Ha-won turned to leave. Ji-eun, seeing this, also followed her. Seo-yu was being scolded by his manager because he was caught up in dating rumors. The manager probed, "Are you really dating?" Seo-yu replied without thinking, "Where do I have time to do those things?" The manager said again, "Thinking about it, it's strange. Was the first love you mentioned on the radio real?" But Seo-yu only said that he made it up. The manager still didn't believe him, so he told him to be careful. Over here, Hae-ji had to drive because the fool Hyun-min was suddenly drinking. Not knowing with the situation where she could only drive straight, when would they get home? And Ji-eun was taking Ha-won to a peaceful place with beautiful scenery to relieve her sorrow. The two walked together on the meadow, enjoying the fresh air. After that, Ji-eun gave her a box, saying that it was a gift from the iron wall. But when she opened it, she saw that there was nothing, so she turned to ask. He said, "That was my heart." But she thought he was teasing her, so she left first. He said that on White Valentine's Day, he had bought candy to give her, but it had all melted. It wasn't Hae-ji, but she was the one who had his heart. That sudden confession made her feel flustered, standing still in place. Ji-eun quickly walked over and placed a kiss on her lips. Ha-won also wrapped her arms around him. The two just confirmed their relationship in the dreamy and beautiful scene. On the way home, the two held hands tightly. Suddenly, Ha-won asked Ji-eun if, when they got home, would they have to keep their distance? Ji-eun nonchalantly replied, "Why should they keep their distance when they weren't doing anything wrong?" Ha-won's phone suddenly rang. It was her best friend calling. Jia-dong questioned Ha-won why she was dating Seo-yu without telling her, which made Ha-won feel very strange. She hurried online. At this time, she learned that Seo-yu's recent song was written about her. Ji-eun, seeing this, became jealous. Just after confirming their relationship, she was caught up in such a scandal. Not knowing who posted this article, truly the cruel often live comfortably, Ha-won explained that things weren't like that. But Ji-eun was very angry. He said, "It seemed that Ha-won and Seo-yu were very close, huh? Look at that picture. In the picture, the two of you look like you're in love." While Ji-eun was jealously exploding lungs, Ha-won told him to keep their relationship a secret, making him so angry that he laughed. As soon as they got home, they saw Chairman Kang sitting and waiting for her for a long time. He told Ha-won to sit down and talk slowly, asking what the heck the two of you were doing. Why wasn't it Hyun-min but you? Seo-yu quickly explained that what he said wasn't true. Ha-won also said that it was just a misunderstanding. Chairman Kang was so angry that his blood pressure rose, asking if the two of them were planning to deceive him. The three mouths all explained until they foamed at the mouth before Chairman Kang calmed down. He said the agreement they had when he let her live here was that she couldn't date one of the three of them. If she violated it, she would have to leave and not be able to see the people living here again. He said that just because she lived in this house with his grandsons, Ha-won wasn't like the people here. This sentence officially angered Ji-eun. He criticized his grandfather. "What's it to you to buy people with money? You even use relatives for business. So if there are people you don't think are suitable, you'll be annoyed." After that, he went back to his room. When Ji-eun was lying in his secret room, Ha-won came over. She poked at him, but he was still angry, so he deliberately ignored her. He asked, "How could she sign such a ridiculous contract? If we get caught, you'll never see me again?" She said it wasn't like that, because at that time she didn't know that they would be like this. He helplessly said that she was always good at making him worry. Now he just wanted to focus on their feelings, but because of those contracts and rules, everything was messed up. She said that, "Do you think I felt okay when you and Hae-ji were like that?" Finally, she resentfully left, and he only knew how to humor her with a smile. When Chairman Kang's wife drove out, Jun-sung also followed. He was confused, not knowing why she was buying so many children's clothes. It turned out that she was bringing them to visit the children at the orphanage. After talking with the orphanage manager, he learned that she often visited here. She had lost her son when he was young, so she wanted to give the children here the love that she couldn't give to her son. On the way back, Jun-sung only had the words of the orphanage manager in his head. Hyun-min was wandering around in the yard when he saw Haiji going to Ji-eun's secret room. When he came back, she said she had only come to pack her things. He told her to leave them there for now, because she had nowhere to put them, but she refused and apologized to him. He told her that he and Ha-won were dating, and he had found these things back for her, then asked him to take her to the storage room. Hyun-min was really worried about Haiji. Ha-won was planning to go find Ji-eun when she saw him and Haiji walking together again, making her jealous. She saw that Ji-eun was really very gentle with Haiji and thought that she and he weren't really compatible. But not knowing what she was thinking, she opened her phone and checked the compatibility between her and Ji-eun, then laughed to herself. While she was looking, Ji-eun walked in, asking her what she was doing and saying that there were a few things he hadn't been able to say to her. About how he didn't treat you well when you first moved in, he was sorry. Hearing that, she laughed loudly, telling him to say it again. Ji-eun had to say it louder. "I'm sorry, okay?" After that, he took her down to the kitchen and cooked for her. He said that, from now on, he would try to cook because his girlfriend liked to eat. Hearing that, Ha-won laughed and ran over to help him. Ji-eun hugged her from behind, then stole a kiss and ran away. After cooking, the two sat down to eat together. But while they were eating, Seo-yu came home. So Ha-won had to push him under the table. At this time, Ji-eun only wanted to climb out and punch Seo-yu for daring to flirt with Ha-won. While resting in the car along the road, Ha-won's adoptive father suddenly received a blackmail call because the person had found Jung-jin. He felt very confused. He asked again, and the other party said they had sent the information via text message. Why couldn't he meet him? But his wife had already received that message. He went to where Jung-jin was working and asked, "It's been a long time since the two of you father and son have met. Was the reunion happy?" Jung-jin asked back, "Do you really think Ha-won is my daughter? Why are you wasting your time on meaningless things?" There was nothing between me and her mother. Ha-won's adoptive father felt very confused hearing that. He said, "When I went to work far away, the two of you were still busy dating." Saying that there was nothing, then why did Ha-won's mother pass away in your house? He explained that she came only because of a problem at the martial arts school, but he didn't believe it. He thought that the two of them were planning to run away together, but Ha-won's mother had died, so he ran away alone. After knowing the truth, Ha-won's father was very remorseful for the things he had caused. It was only because of blind jealousy that it led to such an ending. When Ha-won and Ji-eun arrived at the storage room to meet each other, she asked why he hated his grandfather so much. He told her that, "My mother was just an ordinary woman. People wondered why my mother met my father. Mom never mentioned my father to me, so they probably didn't break up peacefully." Ha-won advised him not to sit here wondering, but to talk clearly with the chairman. While the two were talking to each other, Ha-won received a phone call from her father, which made her very happy. He asked, "Is it messy in the car? And does it smell like gasoline?" But Ha-won said that she really liked it because that was her father's smell. "Dad is so cool for being able to drive such a big truck everywhere." He apologized to her for what he had misunderstood all this time. But Ha-won wasn't angry at him, but said that she believed her mother. She also knew that he trusted her a lot because it had been so long, but he still hadn't gone to check and had kept searching for Jung-jin. Even when he said Ha-won wasn't his biological daughter, she still respected him. After confiding, the two felt much more comfortable in their hearts. He told Ha-won, please give him a little more time to turn the current house into a real family. After returning home, he asked his wife if she had met Jung-jin, but she stammered and couldn't answer. He angrily shouted, causing her to be scared and confess the whole truth. He said that Ha-won wasn't Jung-jin's daughter but his own biological daughter, causing the two stepmother and daughter to widen their eyes in shock. He warned the two to quickly tell the truth about what they had done to her before, causing the two of them to be so scared that they knelt on the ground and apologized. After that, he chased the two into the room that they had previously forced Ha-won to stay in, causing them to be scared and cry out. Over here, Hyun-min was looking at the calendar because Hyeji's birthday was coming up. He remembered again the day when they first met. He brought gifts for Hee-jung, but didn't bring any for Hyeji, so she cried. He said that he gave gifts to Hee-jung because today was his birthday. She said that, today is also my birthday. It turned out that the two were twins, so their birthdays were on the same day. He said that he would make up for her birthday next time, as an apology for forgetting this time. Hyun-min intended to ask Hyeji to go to the birthday party, but she said she already had a date, causing him to feel embarrassed. While Ha-won and Ji-eun were dating on the street, they were caught by Chairman Kang, causing him to be very angry. Not only that, even Seo-yu saw it, but because he wanted to help Ha-won, he hid it from Jun-sung. Seo-yu was standing drinking coffee with Ha-won, noticing that she was in a very happy mood, so he asked about it. She asked Seo-yu that a friend of hers had just started dating and didn't know what to buy her boyfriend as a gift, so she asked for his opinion. Seo-yu said that in reality, men don't need gifts, just for her to be by their side. Suddenly, Chairman Kang asked to meet her. He said that he felt very disappointed in Ha-won. "I trusted you a lot, and yet you lied to me." She didn't know what to say, so she could only apologize. But he asked back what she was planning to do. He gave her two choices, but she could only choose one of the two. She was forced to choose her future or Ji-eun's. He asked her to forget Ji-eun, forget this conversation, and forget the time at the Hanum mansion, then leave. If she could do it, he would give her everything he had promised, which was tuition for college and the compensation for the things she had done. As for secretly dating Ji-eun, it's not impossible. But do you want a love where you can't predict the future? How long do you think you can meet that kid? A few months? Or a few years? What you need to do, you understand, right? Hearing this, Ha-won cried uncontrollably, bowed to him, and left. That made Chairman Kang remember the old days, when he had treated Ji-eun's mother exactly the same way. Over here, Ji-eun called Ha-won over and over, but she didn't answer. He was anxiously pacing back and forth. He suddenly dropped his phone into a room. When he went inside to pick up the phone, he accidentally saw an album containing photos of his parents. That made Ji-eun very surprised and hate his grandfather even more. Chairman Kang discovered the secret of Jun-sung and his wife. He had a heart attack and fainted. Ha-won was packing her luggage into a suitcase to leave. Suddenly, she saw the gift Ji-eun had given her, then remembered the words he had said to her. In the other room, Seo-yu was also signing his name on the posters and writing words of advice to Ha-won on them. He planned to give them to her. Seo-yu remembered the memories of the two of them, remembering the words of encouragement that Ha-won had given him in times of joy and sorrow. In Ha-won's eyes, he was always the most wonderful artist, and the womanizing Hyun Min at this time was standing in the park, remembering the memories of him and Hae-ji when they were little. He had once proposed to her with a very cute ring. Ji-eun was driving fast on the road when suddenly Jun-sung called to report that his grandfather had lost consciousness. In the same definite moment, everyone received a phone call notifying them of Chairman Kang's health condition. But the first person to visit him was the little princess Ha-won. Hearing that he had lost consciousness, Ha-won hurried to the hospital, asking the nurse which room Chairman Kang was in. Currently, the chairman has been taken to the intensive care unit. The wife suddenly walked over, asking the nurse, "Where is the best doctor in the hospital right now? Quickly, call him for me." Ha-won thought that the chairman had fainted because of her fault. So when she saw the wife, she bowed and apologized repeatedly. She said that, "I disobeyed the chairman to secretly date Ji-eun. Perhaps the chairman was very angry when he knew about that, which is why he became like this. I had just met the chairman not long ago. If it was because of meeting me that the chairman got into this situation, I am really very regretful." The wife, after hearing Ha-won say that, no longer thought that the chairman's fainting was her fault, but took the opportunity to blame Ha-won. "How can a girl like you dare to say something that would make the chairman like this? Do you know what the chairman's condition is right now? He's fighting liver cancer. If he doesn't get a liver transplant, it's all over. The only hope now is to find a compatible organ donor, so we're racing against time, do you know that? He only needs to hang on a little longer. And you've taken away that little bit of time. We give you a place to eat and live, and you do this?" Before that, the chairman had given Ha-won a condition that she had to choose between a huge sum of money or choose Ji-eun. Therefore, the wife threatened Ha-won and told her to quietly leave without letting Ji-eun and the others know. She also told Ha-won to forget that she had ever come here. If she did that, she would help Ha-won hide the fact that she had caused the chairman to lose consciousness. Ha-won, hearing that, left. Ji-eun also arrived at the hospital in time. The two brushed past each other without seeing each other. After that, the wife came to approach Ji-eun again, intending to make him misunderstand Ha-won. She said Chairman Kang had found out about his and Ha-won's secret relationship. She said Ha-won was a disobedient girl. She knew exactly what she wanted and would do anything to achieve her goals. But the chairman is too harsh, seeing that the kid is so young and already making her choose between money and love. Ji-eun, hearing that, seemed not to understand very much, but she made up a story, saying that Ha-won wasn't answering the phone because she had received money from the chairman and left. Hearing that, Ji-eun angrily got up and left immediately. The other two troublemakers finally showed their faces. Jun-sung announced that now only liver transplant surgery could give Chairman Kang hope of continuing to live. That's why he didn't dare to tell you, because he didn't want to put pressure on you. After that, the two young masters invited each other to go immediately to the room of Dr. Park, the best doctor in the hospital. He said that liver transplant surgery was also very difficult for the donor, and even if he had prepared for this, he couldn't perform the surgery if the two sides weren't completely compatible. Leaving the doctor's room, the two brothers said to each other that they were very worried about their grandfather's surgery. It seemed that those troublemakers from before had grown up a lot. Just at this time, at the Hanum mansion, Ji-eun stopped Ha-won from leaving in time. Ha-won justified her quiet departure with some incomprehensible words. She said, I have completed my work here. Maybe I was mistaken all along. I thought I had become Cinderella when a person like you said they liked me, but no. Actually, I only came here to work part-time. When I was kicked out of my house and had nowhere to go, I was given a place to eat, a place to live, and a very high salary by Chairman Kang. So, after completing the task, I have to leave immediately. Hearing this, Ji-eun angrily scolded Ha-won. Don't say any more. Words like that are really hard to hear. But in the end, our Princess Ha-won still decided to leave this mansion. Ha-won walked on the road crying. She remembered the memories of the two of them being happy together, the words and the care that Ji-eun had given her. Even though she had gone far from the Hanun mansion, she still hoped that he would run up and hug her from behind. But there was no one behind her. It seemed that the words that girls say "let go of me" and "let me go" have the opposite meaning. Over here, the chairman's wife summoned Jun Sung. She was Jun Sung's biological mother, everyone. She was truly a woman with great ambition. After hearing the news that Chairman Kang wouldn't know when he would wake up, she immediately planned to put Jun Sung, who was also her son, in charge of the Hanun group. But after working for the chairman for a long time, Jun Sung had regarded Chairman Kang as a respectable father. When he heard his mother say that, he wasn't happy at all. His mother was always scheming and planning to get power in her hands. Ha-won, at this time, had walked to her mother's grave. In front of her mother's portrait, Ha-won expressed that she was very regretful for having caused Chairman Kang to have an accident. She was very worried, not knowing what she should do right now to do the right thing. At this time, Ji-eun also remembered his mother and picked up her picture to look at. On the picture was written a place called Island in the Forest. He sensed something, like his heart was calling. When he arrived here, Ji-eun received a warm welcome from the owner of this cafe. He said, "Many people have come back here looking for the messages they once wrote. Just like you, I can tell just by looking. Most people come here because of breakups, but what about you?" After that, Ji-eun showed the cafe owner an old photo. The woman in the photo was Ji-eun's mother. She had come here to take the photo in 1995. The cafe owner told him to wait a moment, not to go anywhere. After that, he brought out a box, saying that these were all the messages from 1995. Take a look and see if there are any clues. When he opened it, Ji-eun accidentally read a message. It was a letter from his father. He said that he would never let the person he loved leave him. Next was a message from his mother. She wrote, "Thank you for coming to find me. I'm sorry for running away, but I'm afraid of everything." When he read these messages, his intuition told him that these were truly his parents. Therefore, he called the cafe owner over, saying he wanted to see the messages from 1996. After rummaging through the yellowed papers in the box, he found the messages that his parents wrote to each other. His mother messaged her husband that she still often came here, hoping that one day she would accidentally meet the person she loved again. She had named their son Ji-eun, and the boy really looked like his father. Every time she came here, she thought of Ji-eun's father. She felt that it was okay for her not to have a husband, but it was too difficult for her son not to have a father. While reading his parents' messages, Ji-eun was moved beyond words. At this time, the doctor informed the young master Hyun-min that he couldn't contact Ha-won, because previously, Ha-won had said that if possible, she also wanted to donate to Chairman Kang, so she had gone to see the doctor right after Chairman Kang was hospitalized. The restaurant also informed Hyun-min that the chairman had dropped this when he was taken to the hospital. Fortunately, the restaurant had picked it up. At that time, they intended to give it to Secretary Jun Sung, but he had suddenly disappeared. After hearing these words, Hyun-min had vaguely guessed something. He immediately hurried to the company to find Jun Sung. But the staff reported that Jun Sung hadn't come to the company today. Jun Sung had asked for leave to take the wife to the hospital to visit the chairman. Hyun-min called Secretary Jun Sung again, but he lied that he was at the company. This made Hyun-min suspicious about whether Jun Sung was involved in his grandfather's fainting. Currently, the secretary was sitting at a cafe with his mother. She gave Jun Sung a set of documents confirming the transfer of shares. As long as he signed this, all of her shares would be transferred to his name. Ha-won also returned to do the job she loved, which was working part-time at her old cafe. Unexpectedly, her father came to visit her at the cafe. He was very worried about Ha-won. He thought that the job she was doing would greatly affect her, because she had to spend too much time with people who had very different identities. After that, he told Ha-won a very important truth. Ha-won had always thought that the ring she had been wearing was a memento her mother wanted to leave for her, but in reality, it belonged to someone else. Ha-won's mother had died because she had tried to go back to save the woman living in the apartment next door. The woman wanted her son to keep the ring, so she gave it to Ha-won's mother. Fortunately, her family's misunderstanding had been resolved. Because of that ring, for a long time, her father had misunderstood and resented Ha-won's mother. After that, the artist Seo-yu also came to the place where Ha-won was working part-time. He informed Ha-won that she wasn't compatible for a liver transplant for Chairman Kang either. The only chance now was that troublemaker Ji-eun, but they couldn't contact Ji-eun. Seo-yu earnestly begged Ha-won because only she could call Ji-eun back. Truly, only Ha-won knew where he was right now. She immediately went to the auto repair shop where he used to work. Sure enough, this stubborn guy was here. After that, Ha-won gave Ji-eun the chairman's phone because there were many things he needed to see in it. She told him to open the phone and read the messages because it was related to his father. Ha-won said that since finding Ji-eun, the chairman had been texting his father every day. After that, she used all her words to try to persuade Ji-eun to go back to get a liver transplant for him. Finally, Ji-eun stopped being stubborn. He immediately followed Ha-won back to his grandfather's side. On the other hand, the wife was holding an emergency meeting with the shareholders at the company. She said that now, she would introduce to all the shareholders present here her son, who was also holding the same number of shares as the 5 main shareholders of the group. The wife confidently said that Secretary Jun Sung had been trusted and completely entrusted with everything by Chairman Kang, so he could easily take on the new leadership position of the group. After returning, Ji-eun did all the tests so that he could quickly have liver transplant surgery for the chairman. He told Ha-won that, when he first came to the Hanun mansion, his grandfather had said that he didn't know his mother, but it turned out that wasn't true. He had driven his mother out of that house, which made him very angry. He himself had originally planned to never meet anyone at that mansion again. But Ha-won was right. He had gone to all the trouble to come here, so after the chairman woke up, he would ask him clearly about everything. After he did the last of the tests, the 2 troublesome younger brothers still insisted on staying by his side. The eldest Ji-eun was uneasy. Every gesture, sitting posture, and even scratching their heads, the 3 were exactly the same. Finally, these 3 troublemakers had come to regard each other as family. After that, Dr. Park told Ji-eun that Chairman Kang often talked about him. The chairman often said that he always felt guilty towards him and was always worried about him. At this time, Hyun-min accidentally met the wife and Secretary Jun Sung in the basement. He smirked, wondering why. Since the time the chairman had collapsed, she had been so busy all the time. After that, the wife softly pretended to be innocent, apologizing to Hyun-min, but he didn't need it, because the person she needed to apologize to was the chairman. Right now, he was just unconscious, but if he found out, he would be very disappointed. The wife again used the excuse that she was busy looking for a more perfect organ donor in case of the worst. Even though Ji-eun had come to get tested today, there were no results yet, so it was still uncertain. Hyun-min fanned his face at her. It seems that you're really hoping something bad will happen to grandfather over here. Ha-won and Ji-eun were walking together under the shady trees. Ha-won suddenly turned and said, "After this is done, take your stuff yourself," because she couldn't return to the Hanun mansion anymore. Ji-eun was angry, telling her to come back there with him, because anyway, no one was assigning her any tasks now. But she told him not to be stubborn anymore. Ji-eun was angry and turned to scold Ha-won lovingly. "Tell me that it's not like that. Make clear the misunderstanding I have. That you also want to be with me, right? How could I not understand what's in your heart?" Ha-won was resentful and intended to leave just because her lover had raised his voice at her. But it seemed that this stubborn guy was so clever. Seeing that, Ji-eun immediately apologized to Ha-won for letting her leave alone that day. The words she had said that day, he didn't believe a single one. Over here, the artist COU suggested that the manager cancel all the performances in Seoul and other cities because his grandfather was seriously ill, even though these were all the biggest performances since COU debuted. The next day at Seoul Hospital, Dr. Park was very happy to report that Ji-eun's liver test results were completely compatible for liver transplant surgery for the chairman. However, it was very dangerous because our Ji-eun was allergic to anesthesia. The doctor didn't know how he would react to common anesthesia. Ji-eun's body might convulse during surgery, and the worst-case scenario was that he wouldn't be able to wake up again. Therefore, the doctor advised Ji-eun to decide this for himself. After knowing that Ji-eun could have liver transplant surgery for the chairman, Secretary Kang hurriedly ran back to the mansion to report the news to everyone. Ji-eun has received the results. He's a great match. At this time, Ha-won entered the hospital room to visit Chairman Kang. She brought the photo she had taken with the young masters during the first meal they had together. The wife suddenly walked in, and once again Ha-won was threatened. She asked her when she was planning to leave. After the surgery was successful, the chairman would wake up soon. Ha-won said that she would only stay until the day of the chairman's surgery. After the surgery was successful, she would voluntarily leave immediately. After knowing the date of the chairman's surgery, the wife instructed Jun Sung to hold an emergency extraordinary shareholders meeting on that day. When the chairman woke up, the surrounding situation would change completely. On Ji-eun's side, his hospital room at this time was being invaded and disturbed by 3 people, including the housekeeper, the womanizing young master Hyun-min, and the talented artist Seo-yu. They were trying hard to justify their excessive actions. First was Hyun-min. He was worried that Ji-eun would feel bored being alone in the hospital room. Seo-yu also agreed with the above opinion. "That's right. We came here to help Ji-eun feel less bored." Finally, it was the housekeeper's turn. She strained her voice to argue. Ji-eun is about to have an important surgery, so he really needs to be nourished. But in the end, everything was taken back by Ha-won. After leaving, Hyun-min had accidentally seen the chairman's lawyer. He stood outside the door, eavesdropping. Hearing the wife want the lawyer to call an emergency extraordinary shareholders meeting, Hyun-min immediately went to the company, ran straight into Secretary Jun-sung's office, grabbed him by the collar and threatened him. Hyun-min affirmed that he would show Jun-sung how he would protect the things that belonged to him. After that, Hyun-min acted immediately by holding a meeting between the shareholders. He stated that, "The reason I invited everyone here today is to protect this Hanon group. I'm sure everyone is still skeptical about whether someone like me can do anything at this time. I know that too. However, I'm not so incompetent as to let the company that my grandfather has built and protected for 55 years fall into the hands of others. Moreover, I'm not so immature that I don't see the effort that all of you sitting here have put in since the establishment of this group. I know clearly how heavy this position is, and I want to take on this great responsibility." All the shareholders were very satisfied with Hyun-min's very sincere speech. That night, at the Hanon mansion, all the misunderstandings between Hyun-min and Hae-ji were finally resolved. The two hugged each other, kissing passionately and romantically under the beautiful moonlight, and the main couple, Eun Ha-won and Ji-eun, at this time also sneaked out of the hospital together to play for a satisfying time before the surgery. The day for the important extraordinary shareholders meeting had also arrived. Hyun-min wore a very cool suit. The topic of discussion at today's shareholders meeting was the dismissal of Chairman Kang, after which the voting would begin. At the same time, the surgery for Chairman Kang and the young master Ji-eun had also begun. While Ji-eun was in the operating room, over here, Hyun-min had won in the shareholders meeting, successfully helping his grandfather keep the Hanon group. The wife blamed her son for why he had done that. His decision would cause her and her son to fall into the abyss. After the shareholders meeting, Hyun-min hurried to the hospital. Arriving there, he saw Ha-won still standing in front of the operating room door, looking very worried. At this time, the doctor came out, saying that the liver transplant surgery for the chairman was very successful, but Ji-eun had suffered from drug shock. Fortunately, nothing was critical anymore, but he still hadn't woken up. Hyun-min questioned the doctor that when you guys examined his brother, you said there was no problem. Why was it like this now? The doctor had to tell the truth. Ji-eun was allergic to anesthesia. Before the surgery, they had warned him, but he still insisted on doing it. Ha-won couldn't believe her ears. She felt very heartbroken, almost falling down. Fortunately, Hyun-min caught her. After waking up, Chairman Kang felt very guilty towards Ji-eun. He hurriedly asked Dr. Park if his grandson would be okay. The doctor was about to tell the truth when he saw Hyun-min signaling him. He had to lie to the chairman. Over here, Ha-won was taking care of Ji-eun, not leaving for even half a step. Seo-yu came to advise her to go home and rest, but she was still reluctant, unable to leave the person she loved. On the other hand, Jun-sung had submitted his resignation to Chairman Kang. He honestly said that, in reality, the wife was his mother. He asked to take all the blame his mother had caused. Hearing that, Chairman Kang was very surprised. He didn't know what to say, only silently letting him leave. Ha-won was wiping Ji-eun's body when Hyun-min brought Chairman Kang over. The person he felt the most guilty towards was this grandson. After that, he told Hyun-min to watch his brother so that Ha-won could take him back to his room. Ha-won affirmed that she didn't care about the future or money. She could return everything that the chairman had rewarded her with, as long as he let her stay by Ji-eun's side. He only said that if she couldn't take responsibility to the end with the feelings she had for Ji-eun, then don't even mention it. But when he personally witnessed the way she took care of him or the time she secretly shed tears, his heart was moved. One day, her stepmother and her daughter arranged to meet Ha-won. She said that her father was at the police station. Because her father had fallen asleep while driving, he had caused an accident. Her father was fine, but the other party was injured and was in the hospital. Ha-won wandered alone on the road, thinking about what her stepmother had said, when she suddenly received a call from the hospital. She hurried over, but she saw Hyun-min pushing the chairman in, which reminded her of the words the chairman had said. She could only stand outside the door, and didn't dare to go inside. That night, she wandered aimlessly on the road. Seeing Ji-eun call, she didn't dare to answer because she had decided to save her father. After being released, her father worriedly asked Ha-won where she got such a large sum of money, but she reassured her father. After Ha-won and her father got off the bus, she saw Ji-eun standing there waiting for her. He asked her why. When he opened his eyes, he didn't see her there. He said that he missed her so much that he was going crazy, but she didn't dare to turn around and look at him. She could only say that her task was to bring him to the hospital. That was also her last task. Those words made Ji-eun very heartbroken, but to make him completely give up, ignoring her bleeding heart, Ha-won still stubbornly said words that would make Ji-eun hate her. Over here, Hyun-min and Hae-ji were having a sweet time. They exchanged a kiss in the crowded city. While Ji-eun was sitting absent-mindedly alone, Seo-yu walked over, worried about him because he hadn't been able to contact Ha-won, but he said that she didn't want to see him anymore, which made Seo-yu very confused. Seo-yu didn't understand why Ha-won was so devoted to taking care of someone she didn't want to see. At first, Ji-eun thought Ha-won did that for his grandfather, but now he wasn't sure. If she felt pain being with him, he would let her go. Hearing that, Seo-yu told him everything that he had heard Ha-won say, that maybe she had to leave like that because of Ji-eun. After hearing the advice from Seo-yu, he seemed to realize something and went to find his grandfather. He questioned him about what he had said to Ha-won, but Chairman Kang indifferently replied that it was a decision for his future. Ji-eun suddenly asked, had he done the same thing to his mother? Back then, did he also use his father's future to threaten his mother? If he hadn't done that back then, things would have been completely different. Finally, he knelt down and begged him, without Ha-won by my side, I can't breathe from the pain. Please, let us be together. Seeing his grandson break down like that, and thinking about what Ha-won had gone through, he had to agree. After so many things had happened, the stepmother and stepsister had a completely different attitude towards Ha-won. That day, while eating with the family, Ha-won suddenly received a phone call from Chairman Kang asking to meet her. He said that everyone was worried about her because she had left without saying anything. She said sorry, but he told her that she didn't need to apologize because he was the one who had told her to leave. Finally, he told her to get to know Ji-eun because he gave his permission. He also said that Ji-eun missed her a lot. Ha-won suddenly said, you're right, when I really needed money, I couldn't choose Ji-eun instead of money. I was the one who gave up Ji-eun, not because of anyone else. It was my own choice. He said that the 3 months he had promised hadn't passed yet. She could come back whenever she wanted. That made Ha-won touchingly cry. While talking to Ji-eun, his grandfather gave him a memento left by his father, telling him to give it to the person he loved. In reality, there were 2 rings from his father and mother, but his mother's ring had been lost. When he saw the ring, Ji-eun immediately remembered the ring on Ha-won's neck. He remembered Ha-won saying that it was a memento of her mother. Sitting in the car, Ji-eun looked at his father's ring, then called the Family Association of Victims to inquire about the ring, but he was surprised because someone was looking for him. The person who came to meet him was none other than Ha-won's father. He said that Ha-won's mother had also died in that accident because she had tried to save a neighbor. She asked Ha-won's mother to give the ring to her son, but unfortunately, her mother also didn't make it. Ha-won, thinking that it was a memento of her mother, had always worn it around her neck. After hearing Ha-won's father say that the 2 of them had held the funeral at the same hospital, Ji-eun seemed to remember something. Sitting in the car, he felt very happy. It turned out that he and Ha-won had known each other since they were little. At that time, he gave her a white rose and wiped away her tears. He gave her his white headband, and she also gave him the white clip on her hair. They considered those to be mementos for the 2 to recognize each other. Ending the flashback, Ji-eun sped off to his loved one, to the girl he loved. At this time, Ha-won received a phone call from her father and learned that he had returned the ring to its owner. From her father, she also knew that that person was Ji-eun. She also realized that Ji-eun was the love of her life, the person she entrusted all her faith and hope in. She and he ran towards each other, bravely pursuing their love. Not knowing if it was a predestined fate or a bad fate, he returned to her the white hair clip, and she also gave back to him the headband from that day. After that, Ji-eun put on her hand the memento of his parents, which had proven their love. The 2 exchanged a passionate kiss, as if officially confirming that they would never be apart in this life again. Seo-yu continued his dream of being an idol. Hyun-min went to find Jun-sung, advising him to return because Chairman Kang was still waiting for him, but he refused, because now he had his own path. Chairman Kang also proposed to the wife again because he didn't want to have any regrets. Hyun-min and Hae-ji also returned to the old place, visiting deceased relatives. Perhaps Hyun-min was more comfortable facing the truth because the splinter in his heart was gone. Also at that place, Hyun-min vowed to love Hae-ji a lot in place of his brother. At the end of the film, everyone gathered again for a picnic, but this time, everyone was very happy, treating each other sincerely. After experiencing so much hardship, everyone knew how to cherish each other more. A very fulfilling ending for everyone. So the film today comes to an end here. Thank you very much for your interest in following along. If you found this video good, don't hesitate to leave me a like and subscribe so that I have more motivation to make many more good videos. Now goodbye, and see you in the next videos.